I can do what I want when I want to do it. I can do what I need when I need to get through it. When I need someone else, can't be too proud for help, but gotta look after myself. Sometimes it can get lonely, never living in the moment. When the sun is shining, hope that I'm reminded, like how the clouds keep changing. I'm always steady rearranging, going back to the basics of what a good day is. What a good day is. And that's exactly what the day is. But it's exactly what you make it. So please don't go wasting. And I'll do the same, even if it's raining. How could I complain? And my feels got me feeling some type of way. You always free to take a break. Hope you feel what I felt. You gotta look after yourself. Sometimes it can get lonely, never living in the moment. When the sun is shining, hope that I'm reminded, like how the clouds keep changing. I'm always steady rearranging, going back to the basics of what a good day is. Of what a good day is. What a good day is. And that's exactly what the day is.
It's exactly what today is, man. It is a beautiful day. Happy Monday. Hopefully y'all are doing well. Shout out to everybody who's in the building. Y'all know what to do. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. We're gonna go ahead and get right into it. Wow, we made it. 2025 is here. We got another beautiful day, another beautiful time to start the week, and we looking crispy and clean on the screen. Woohoo! My goodness. Shout out to everybody who's in the building. Welcome, y'all. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the Music Morning Show. I'm your host, ClassE Beats of ClassEbeats.com. And this morning, we've got a lot of stories to get to. Y'all saw the news. YNW Melly is having a hearing today. We got a lot of motions we're going to get to. I've been keeping up to date with what's going on in this trial, and I'm going to explain that a little bit to y'all later. We've got another crazy lawsuit that came out over the weekend, too. I just dropped a video on it. This Joy Taylor, FS1, Fox, Skip Bayless lawsuit is absolutely insane. So if y'all haven't heard about it, we're gonna get into it. Make sure you go watch the video I posted earlier. And last but not least, we've got some updates with what's going on with Rice Street and the Department of Justice. But before I get into that, shout out to the gang. I see Rice Street in there cutting up already. I did not. I'm looking flawless. I woke up like this, Rice Street. What you talking about? Of course, my awesome, amazing Amy is in here. Shout out to Amy. Always putting in work, showing love. Taco Tuesday is back in here. Michi, A-Fitz, Olivia Rose, the Honorable Attorney Kel Bell says, happy Monday, everyone. What a glorious day now that school is back in session and my kids won't bug me all day. Said, get them kids up out of here. We got Krisha, Lady E. We've got Miss Neil is in the building. Good to see you. Leslie, Rice Street, as I mentioned. Monterista Valencia is in the building. Mama D just became a new member. Shout out to Mama D. Fun Size is in here. That's a dope username. Julie in the building. Peter Steele, my guy, Mr. Brown. Nicholas, Trisha, Walter, Waller, Custom and Leather is in the building as well. Good to see y'all. We've got Shane became a new member as well. Shout out to Shane. Also says good morning, ClassE, Amy, and the chat. Happy New Year to you all. Happy New Year to you as well. We're gonna go ahead and get into it. We got Nancy Matherson in here. Axel Wheel is back at it, and we also have Rice Boulevard is in here as well. The Rice Street. Shout out to Rice Gang. Can y'all give it up to Rice Gang? Oh, Reverend Michael Garrison is back in here. Good to see you again, Reverend. Appreciate you being here. Cat R is in the building. Javier LaFleur is up in here. What's up? What's up? What's up? Oh, he said Javier LaFleur is out there in Memphis. He said, I got my ClassE Beats beanie on this morning. Yeah, you're gonna need it, man. You know, we're here in Atlanta, and it's looking like we might get some snow this week. I think they're saying Thursday we might get some snow. So y'all shout out your cities. Let me know what the weather's looking like, because whoo, it's about to be cold out here in Atlanta. Rice Street said I missed the spot. Flawless. I like to ride my bike to work sometimes, or I say to work. I like to ride my bike to the studio sometimes, and these last few days, especially looking forward into this week, it's not gonna happen. I love riding my bike, but I don't think I'm gonna be out there. Amy says Snow Buddy. Shout out to my Snow Buddy in the chat. Shout out to Amy. Mama D says Cherokee usually gets some. It's snowing in Wisconsin. Mama D says, I hope we do. Man, the kids just went back to school. Y'all ready to get them back already? Chicago, I know it's snowing out in Chicago. Shout out to Mike Pena in here. Colorado is currently 16. Cat R says, Atlanta, don't go speaking snow into existence. Oh, Cat's right here with me and Amy. Shout out to Cat. We might get some snow. Flint, Michigan. Oh no, it's colder than polar bear's toenails. We got Delaware, got snow. I can hear you. It snowed for 3 days in Montana. No, thank you. Cincinnati, Ohio. Yep, I know it's snowing there. 9 inches. Oh my gosh. Los Angeles. We were 80 degrees yesterday. Wow. Can we all hate on Leslie Abrahams for a minute? She is in LA and she said it's 80 degrees. Oh my gosh. I miss California, man. Hey, shout out to everybody in California. Sarah Hazel Eyes says, I meant we got snow in Delaware. We've already had snow yesterday in Northeast England. I believe it. Amy said that's what she said. No, Leslie Abraham says, don't hate. No, it's not hate, Leslie. It's more I miss it. Shout out to everybody that's out there on the West Coast. All right. I know y'all are probably sick of me talking. I'm going to go ahead and get into it. If y'all could, please do me one favor and like the video on your way in. Not only is it free, not only does it help the show continue to grow, but it lets the YouTube algorithm know that y'all are enjoying the show, and it shares the video with more people. So if you could do that, take a second and show some love. Let's go ahead and get into the court proceedings. Now, to give you guys a little bit of background about this trial, there really isn't much to it. It's kind of the same thing that we saw with the Little Dirk trial. Basically what happened, there's some video allegedly of YNW Melly getting into a car with a couple of his friends. The 2 friends end up dead. According to the state, the friends are dead because they had gunshots to the back of their head. But there was also a drive-by that took place at the same time, allegedly, right? So what the state is trying to argue is that basically YNW Melly was in the back of the car. He went pop, pop. They staged the drive-by so it wouldn't look like he did the murders. Now, keep in mind, the 2 guys that were murdered in this case are 2 of his closest friends. There are some text messages, and one of the most scathing pieces of evidence is a text message from Melly to someone who was close to him as well. They asked him, hey man, what happened? I heard these 2 guys are gone. What's going on? And Melly says, yeah, I did that. So yeah, that's pretty much the summary of everything. There's some going back and forth. Some crazy things happened during the initial trial. This is going to be the second proceeding that we have this year because the first time it was a mistrial. And a lot of that has to do with how the state handled warrants being served by people who weren't supposed to be serving those warrants. A lot of things happened throughout this trial, and we even found out most recently that one of the defense attorneys had their iPhone information or their iCloud information subpoenaed by the state, which is insane. But anyway, that's a little bit of background on this trial. We'll get into it more as we get closer to the trial date, which I believe is in September, but don't quote me on that. Today, we've got some motions hearings for this trial. that is upcoming. One of the things that is interesting that hasn't been decided yet in this trial is whether or not lyrics are going to be allowed to be used during this trial. Now, we saw the same thing in the YSL trial, did not go well for the state, and it really didn't have any weight into what was decided. We're seeing the same thing in the Little Durk trial, to where they're trying to use specific songs and specific lyrics in the court proceedings to say, hey, this is evidence showing that the person was either planning this or involved in it. Little Durk's case, the song was recorded before. So they're trying to do the same thing with YNW Melly. Hasn't been decided yet, so maybe we'll get to that in today's court proceedings. Either way, I say that to say, here we go. Let me go ahead and change this headline too, because that is not the right one. We got YNW Melly walking in first thing in the morning. And they actually had some other court proceedings before this. But now we were able to skip ahead to where Melly's in here now. Yeah, Happy New Year to y'all too. Let me make sure we're not muted. Law and Crime's got the sound muted, so let me skip ahead a little bit to where they unmute. There we go. Melly's been in jail for a minute, y'all, too. And no, that is not Doug Weinstein. Come on, y'all. They don't all look alike. Jeez. And let me know, is the sound good?
We're ready. Thank you. Ready when you're yes. Stay seated.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, let me go back on the record. This is on the FT doc on the top of page 4. State versus Jennings. I've got Ms. Buckaloo, Ms. Collins, Mr. Griffith, present for the state. I've got Mr. Yancey, Mr. Anderson present for Mr. Jennings, who likewise is present. Mr. Aronson, you're telling me we're going forward without Ms. Liberty, without Mr. Benjamin, and without Mr. Higgins. Is that correct? Yes. So, in preparation for the 2 days of all pending motions, I was going to put on the record, I know that the defense wants me to take one of these out of order. I think they're probably correct about that. But let me just put on the record real quick, everything that I've read in preparation for the all pending motions that I gave you all day today and all day tomorrow for. I endeavored to try to read
that's the new
everything
judge,
in the
Judge Martin.
file, all filings and any authority cited therein. That took place since this trial was declared in Mr. Higgins' previous trial, which was July 22nd, 2023. So these are all the pleadings that I read that were filed by the defense. I did read also all the orders that Judge Murphy entered, so I do realize some of these may be due, but in the abundance of caution, so I will be prepared. I nevertheless did read all of them. As we go through them, I'm sure you all will let me know if it's something that I need to resolve or it's something that's already been resolved. Defense, and I'll do these in chronological. I read the defense motion to compel Brady material that was electronically filed August 23rd, 2023. I read the defense motion to compel discovery that was electronically filed August 31st, 2023. I read the defense motion for discovery of prosecutorial investigations and prospective jurors electronically filed September 6th, 2023. Defense motion for disclosure of penalty phase evidence electronically filed September 13th, 2023. The defense's motion in limine regarding phone, social media, and business records electronically filed September 21st, 2023. Defendant Jamel Evans' motion in limine
it's a lot of motion.
certain testimony of Detective Mark Moretti regarding alcohol chronometer electronically filed October 4th, 2023. Defense motion to exclude testimony of defendant's alleged gang affiliation, electronically filed October 4th, 2023. Defendant Janelle Demons' response to state's motion to quash subpoenas and/or for protective order, and for an order to compel witnesses to be deposed and to attend hearing, electronically filed October 4th, 2023. Defendant Janelle Demons' motion to compel discovery, electronically filed October 4th, 2023. Defendant Janelle Demons' motion in limine to exclude certain testimony of Detective Mark Ray along with cell hawk, call data, record, mapping, and Google Maps, electronically filed October 5th, 2023. Defendant Janelle Demons' motion in limine to exclude certain testimony of Detective Mark Moretti regarding Apple Health Phenomena, electronically filed October 5th, 2023. Motion to exclude testimony of expert witness and memorandum of law, electronically filed October 6, 2023. Response to state's motion to quash a memorandum of law, electronically filed October 9, 2023. Memorandum Ray, ASA, Christine Bradley testified, electronically filed October 9, 2023. Defendant's second motion for redeposition of Detective Mark
Morning,
Moretti,
Amber.
electronically filed October 29, 2023. Defendant's second motion to dismiss for government and prosecutorial misconduct in violation of the defendant's due process rights.
Judge, that can be struck because we filed a third one and that incorporated the second. And we already have a ruling on the third one.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me get all of them
All
done,
right.
and then we'll go one at a time. That's why I gave you 2 days. This one is defendant's second motion to dismiss for government and prosecutorial misconduct in violation of the defendant's due process rights. That one was filed November 1st, 2023. Defendant Janelle Demons' motion to exclude, electronically filed November 2nd, 2023. Defendant Janelle Demons' motion to strike the state of Florida supplemental discovery, electronically filed December 14th, 2023.
Wow.
Defendant Janelle Demons' reply to the state of Florida's response to defendant's motion to strike the state of Florida supplemental discovery list, electronically filed December 17th, 2023. Objection to business record certification and/or motion in limine, electronically filed December 18th, 2023. Defendant's third motion to compel forensic images of the cell phones belonging to Christopher Thomas and Anthony Williams, electronically filed April 15th, 2024. Defendant's request for status hearing, electronically filed April 15th, 2024. Defendant's motion to set aside stay and/or modify stay to allow discovery to proceed, electronically filed April 25th, 2024. Motion to compel discovery, electronically filed May 13th, 2024. Defendant Janelle Demons' motion in limine number 2 to exclude irrelevant and immaterial YouTube videos of 1090J, electronically filed May 14th, 2024. Defendant's motion to strike the state of Florida's motion for rehearing dated May 14th, 2024. That is electronically filed May 14th. And then a defense motion for hearing to determine potential conflict.
Yeah, he looks tired.
Electronically filed December 27th, 2024. From the state attorney's office, I read the following. State's motion to refer to potential and seated jurors by number instead of name, electronically filed October 6, 2023. State's motion to allow former testimony of state witness, filed October 6, 2023. State's motion to strike State Attorney Harold Pryor, Assistant State Attorney Regina Falk, and Assistant State Attorney Christopher Kilran from Defendant Demons' supplemental witness list for trial, filed on September 29, 2023. This pleading was electronically filed October 10, 2023. State's motion to strike Assistant State Attorney Christine Bradley from Defendant Demons' supplemental witness list for trial, filed on September 29, 2023. That's electronically filed October 10, 2023. State's motion for admissibility of consciousness of guilt evidence and a request for ruling prior to jury being sworn, filed October 20th, 2023. State's motion to withdraw State's motion to strike ASA Christine Bradley from Defendant Demons' supplemental witness list for trial, filed on September 29, 2023. That is electronically filed on October 25th, 2023. State's motion to withdraw State's motion to strike ASA Christopher Killoran, ASA Regina Falk, and State Attorney Harold Pryor from Defendant Demons' supplemental witness list for trial, filed on September 29th, 2023. That is electronically filed October 25th, 2023.
Man, this is tough.
State's motion to withdraw, state's motion to strike ASA Chris.
Hey, good morning, y'all. Yeah, and a lot of you were asking, he's been in for almost 6 years.
ASA Regina Fox, and State Attorney Harold Crocker, defendant, in the supplemental witness list for trial found.
That's yeah, he's been in there for 6 years.
September 23rd, 2023. This is not a duplicate. This is
Oh, come on. This is not a good time to buffer. Hold on, y'all. There we go. Pause this.
an additional document also filed on October 25th, 2023. States board memorandum of law, electronically filed October 30th, 2023. State's response to defendant's motion to redepose Detective Mark Moretti, electronically filed October 30th, 2023.
There we go.
State's motion to strike all jurors for cause with significant knowledge of the previous trial, electronically filed October 30th, 2023. State's motion for protective order and quash subpoena, electronically filed October 31st, 2023. State's motion limiting to prohibit defendant from improperly pre-trialing his cause or making misstatements of law during board action, electronically filed November 1st, 2023. State's response to defendant Janelle Demon's motion to exclude, electronically filed November 6, 2023. State's response to defendant's motion to eliminate Ray phones, social media, and business records, electronically filed November 6, 2023. State's response to defendant's motion to exclude testimony of defendant's alleged gang affiliations, electronically filed November 6, 2023. State's omnibus memorandum of law in opposition to defendant's motion to suppress evidence, electronically filed November 6, 2023. State's memorandum of law raised striking jury panel due to defense misstatement of the law, electronically filed November the 8th, 2023. State's motion to strike the defendant's second motion to dismiss for government prosecutorial misconduct in violation of the defendant's due process rights, electronically filed November 28th, 2023. State's motion to strike the defendant's unilateral setting of depositions and the state's proposed deposition and motion schedule, electronically filed December 16th, 2023. State's response to defendant's motion to strike the state of Florida's supplemental discovery, electronically filed December 16, 2023. State's motion in limine to exclude testimony of Michelle Boutros and Christine Brett, electronically filed December 17, 2023. State's motion to strike the defendant's sworn motion to dismiss, electronically filed January 12, 2024. State's response to defendant's objection to business record certification and/or motion in limine,
Trying to get everything out of there.
January 23rd, 2024. State's motion to strike the defendant's request for status hearing and permission to proceed with litigation, electronically filed April 15th, 2024. State's motion to strike the defendant's request for status hearing and permission to proceed with litigation, electronically filed April 17th, 2024. State's response to defendant's motion titled Third Motion to Compel Forensic Images of the Cell Phones, electronically filed May 20th.
Yeah, shout out to Judge Martin. Don't test Judge Martin.
I did also today do the state's motion to strike defendant's notice of hearing, electronically filed January 2nd, 2025, as well as the state's response to defendant's motion to compel discovery, filed on May 13th, 2024, electronically filed January 2nd, 2025. As far as previous orders that Judge Murphy entered, I read all of the following.
Wow, it's tied.
Order denying defendant's motion for redeposition of Detective Mark Moretti, entered August 7th, 2023. Order on motion to remove electronic monitor, entered August 25th, 2023. Order denying defendant's motion to set bond, entered September 22nd, 2023.
I should have been counting these.
Order denying defendant's motion to recuse State Attorney's Office of the 17th Judicial Circuit in and for Broward County, Florida, entered October 12th, 2023. Order granting defendant's motion to recuse 17th Judicial Circuit Assistant State Attorney Christine Bradley, entered October 12th, 2023. Order granting State Attorney's motion to quash subpoenas and/or for protective orders, entered October 12th, 2023. Order denying defendant's motion to dismiss for government and prosecutorial misconduct in violation of the defendant's due process rights, entered October 20th, 2023. Order on state's motion for inquiry of all pre-qualified jurors and motion for relief, entered October 26, 2023. Order granting in part and denying in part defendant's second motion for redeposition of Detective Mark Moretti, entered November 7, 2023. Order denying defendant's motion to declare section 921.141 subsection 6 subsection N of the Florida statutes unconstitutional, entered November 14, 2023. Order on deposition of state witnesses, entered on November 15, 2023. Order granting the state's renewed motion to reset the trial commencement date, entered November 15.
Yes, he got a new lawyer. That's correct.
Order denying defendant's motion in limine, Ray agreement between Demons and Williams as to sharing of any money, entered November 17, 2023. Order Ray's second deposition of Detective Danny Polo, entered November 21st, 2023. Omnibus order on defendant's motion to suppress numbered 1 through 13, entered December the 20th, 2023. Order on the state's motion for rehearing / reconsideration, entered January 11th, 2024. Order on defendant's motion to dismiss for violation of due process and double jeopardy and/or motion to recuse entire state attorney's office of the 17th Judicial Circuit, entered January 19th, 2024. Order on state's motion for clarification, entered January 24th, 2024. Order denying the state's motion for reconsideration, entered January 25th, 2024. Order granting defendant's motion in limine Ray promotional video, entered January 25th, 2024. Order denying defendant's motion to set aside stay and order granting defendant's motion to modify stay to allow discovery to proceed, entered May 2nd, 2024. Order denying defendant's motion to set aside stay and order granting defendant's motion to modify stay to allow discovery to proceed. That's a duplicate.
Good morning, everybody.
Order denying the state's motion for rehearing and reconsideration of the court's order modifying the stay to allow discovery to proceed, issued on May 2nd, 2024. That's issued on July 16th, 2024, nunc pro tunc to May 16th, 2024. So, that's everything that I looked at, as well as any authority cited therein, statutes, case law, or otherwise. You don't have to repeat yourselves, but you certainly can if you would like. I have the balance of all day today. I take a lunch break between 12:30 and 1:45. I can likewise give you the entire day tomorrow. I won't limit either side to present whatever evidence, witnesses, or testimony they would like to present. Defense, I'm going to start with you, and I also did read Rutledge versus State, which is 157 3rd 830, regarding the defense motion for hearing to determine potential conflict. So, whenever you're ready, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Rutledge and other cases, federal cases, because state of Florida really hasn't delved into this area as much as the federal case law does, indicates that there are certain things we need to find out first of all. So I don't know if this is the hearing or you want to set a hearing, but the bottom line of it is that the first thing we need to know whether Miss Liberty is still under investigation. We were told before the hearing by the state, I have no reason to doubt their word, that she still is under investigation. So that raises for us a number of problems. It may look on the surface that the only thing is, does Miss Liberty need to get permission from Mr. Demons to stay on the case and for him to waive conflict, but it's much deeper than that. And the reason why it's much deeper than that is we don't know what the state has subpoenaed. We do not know what they have in their possession. We do not know, other than the Apple accounts, if they've subpoenaed other things. Therefore, we do not know whether communications that we have had with Ms. Liberty have been intercepted, and therefore, we've been told that nobody else on the defense team is under investigation, but there are certainly confidential communications that we would have had with Ms. Liberty. There are communications about trial strategy that we would have had with Ms. Liberty that we do not know who is in possession of them, what is going on with them. Now, the case law seems to be pretty clear that during this type of process with an attorney who's on a case, that the state is bound to return innocent or innocuous or confidential communications to Ms. Liberty. But she has not received any. In fact, she didn't know there were any that were to be received until the date that's mentioned in the motion. So where does that put us? As I said, we've been told that the defense team, other than Ms. Liberty, is not under investigation. But we do know that there's an ongoing investigation. What we have now been working for nearly a year or over a year with the state being in possession of documents dealing with Ms. Liberty. If in fact Ms. Liberty has to get off the case because of the conflict that she would have, this is a year too late. We should have been informed of this a year ago. So the defense team and Ms. Liberty, and therefore Mr. Demings, for a year are working on this case with the state knowing that there's the potential that Ms. Liberty will be indicted or an information filed against her in the exact same case of tampering with evidence and with witnesses. And if that becomes the case, she obviously, whether there's a conflict or not that has been waived up until that time, I think the case law is pretty clear. At that time, if she has charges against her, she has to bail out. In fact, I believe, and I'm not sure because it's federal case law, but I'd like to read to the court this paragraph from the case of U.S. versus Shagan, 661 Fed Sup 1289, 2009. In contrast to McLean, where the defense counsel was under investigation for a crime unrelated to charges against the defendant, here, defense counsel would have been under investigation for crimes that threatened the integrity and fairness of the trial. Were the government to inform the court at the eve of trial or during the course of trial that the defense team was under investigation for witness tampering, under the principles of McLean and as conceded by Cronin, the defense team would be forced to withdraw its representation of Dr. Shagan. In fact, David Marcus made the motion orally as soon as he heard about the investigation. Such a development would have deprived the defendant of a defense team that had been intimately familiar with his defense, causing him severe prejudice. And that's where we're traveling down right now. Even if we stay on the case right now, if charges are brought against Ms. Liberty and they happen to fall before the end of Mr. Demings' trial, we may be forced to, under the law, to withdraw as an entire defense team. But a question still needs to be asked. Why did the state wait, not to tell us, because they never told us, we had to find it out through Apple, that there was an investigation? Because a year ago, we would have sat with Mr. Demings, and he may have said, you know what, I need a new defense team. And we would have been off the case. But for a year, basically, we've been on a case that maybe we should not have been.
Yeah, and this is an example of the state just delaying things again, because they've got all these motions to try and get certain defense attorneys removed, and now they're investigating them, and they're waiting until the last minute. It's frustrating as a defense attorney.
There are things that we need to know. We need to know who reviewed the warrant, who signed the warrant for the state as far as authorizing. We need to know whether there was a tainting. if all this information was gathered and given to the state attorneys that are prosecuting this case right now, there are innocent, innocuous, and confidential communications that will be in the hands of the state that is improper. A paint team should have been set up that reviews the documents and makes sure only those that are specific to the search warrant are looked at by the trial team. Questions need to be asked. If in fact Ms. Liberty is under investigation, then why were the subpoenas sent out and why did that investigation begin now? And what I mean by that is there's a statute of limitations. The state was under no obligation to begin that investigation until Mr. Demmons' case is over. Therefore,
and basically what happened, in case y'all are wondering, Miss Liberty got and I mentioned this earlier, Miss Liberty got an email or a notification from Apple just saying, hey, by the way, the state subpoenaed your Apple content, meaning your Apple ID, your Apple Cloud, whatever, and they've been investigating you. And the defense team was like, yo, hey, wait, hold on. When did this happen? We didn't hear anything about it. We didn't know she was being investigated. So now there might be an issue. It's crazy.
There is no perceived conflict. There is no conflict because we don't know that they're thinking about investigating Miss Liberty. But instead, we were not put in that position to know that, and a year went by. If they had waited to the conclusion of Mr. Demmons' case, as I said, then there is no conflict. So the only thing that I get from this is that there's the chance that within the next whatever year, or 10 months until the trial date, 9 months, whatever it is exactly, that Miss Liberty is in fact facing charges formally. And if that occurs, then A, she can't try the case. Not sure the rest of the defense team can try the case.
Yeah, and he's explaining it right now. Hopefully y'all can hear. He said if she does face some type of charges when it comes to this case, then she can't try the case, and they need to know that. Thank you, Amber, for the super chat.
Don't know, as a prejudice to Mr. Demmons would be monumental that at this late stage you have to get a whole new defense team.
Correct.
So we need these questions answered. It's not just as simple, is there an ongoing investigation? We need to know the extent of it. We need to know the whys of when it was instituted and why wasn't it, why didn't the state wait for this matter to be over. We need to know whether the state, if they're going to charge Ms. Liberty with this crime of tampering, do they intend to try her at the same time as Mr. Demmons, or a separate trial? Obviously, at the same time, it even raises more of a conflict. We have a question, and that scares us. Miss Liberty has not been allowed to see Mr. Demmons in person for the last, before I got on the case, for at least the last year and a half. When she goes to the jail, she must pick up the phone and use one of those phones to talk to Mr. Demmons on the other side of the glass partition by phone. Have they been tapped? Have they been listened into? We need to know what communications, what has gone on. So it's not just as simple as, is there an open investigation? Now, as far as going forward on these other motions that you said, we can't go forward as a defense team on any of these motions until we talk to Mr. Demmons and have...
Yes, it's pronounced Demmons, not demons. Like I said, this dude has the worst last name to be a defendant in a criminal trial that I've ever seen. Like, this is bad. It's Demmons, not demons.
Him understand what's going on, and for him, first of all, to make the decision. Yes, I want to keep this defense team. Yes, I want to keep Miss Liberty. Or no, I need a new defense team. We can't do anything until that's decided.
That would be crazy.
I will say that after doing the research that I did over the weekend, and came up with the case I cited to the court, I think all members of our defense team need to call up the Florida bar and to see whether we're obligated, now that we know that she's under investigation, that we're obligated or not to withdraw from the case, regardless of Mr. Demmons' position. So that's where we stand today. With all apologies to the court, though, I do not believe we can go forward with these motions. Mr. Demmons has a lot of thinking to do. Hopefully the court will give us a hearing and some of these questions are answered, and then he can make a logical and an informed decision. And by that time, we can find from the bar whether we have obligations regardless of his decisions.
Rutledge says, I have to find out if there's an investigation, and the state says there is. What is your authority for all those other things that you said you want to answer? Because I didn't find any authority. I don't even know how I would do that, by the way. But
Well,
do you have any authority? I understand you're saying, that's the judge, this is what we like. I read what Rutledge says. That's what I'm doing right now. But you want to know about investigations. You want to know about a judge who reviewed a warrant. How would you suggest I do that? And more importantly, do you have any authority that supports any of those requests you just made?
well, the authority that I have, Your Honor, is the Sixth Amendment to the United States Constitution, which requires and which allows my client to have competent counsel. And without being able to go into these things, and I also rely on the 14th Amendment due process, without being able to go into these things and have a hearing where all these things are ferreted out.
Yeah.
A hearing, that's what I'm asking. What do you, I don't want you to confuse some type of hearing defending this liberty. That's not really the issue. That's a yes or no question, the Shanner investigation. And the answer is yes. So the only other question that Rutledge requires is that Mr. Demmons has to decide, does he want to go forward with her, or does he want conflict-free counsel, which I think he's certainly entitled to. And if he wants to apply that to all of his lawyers, he may do that. But that's a discussion between you and your client. I can't intervene in that.
Yeah, and that's wild, man, because he knows, YNW Melly knows that Miss Liberty's being investigated. I mean, would you want to keep a lawyer as your counsel that you know is being investigated, and then your trial could be postponed even more? Because if it comes down, as YNW Melly's attorney is saying now, if it comes down to it and she is charged with something, then I mean, this is even a bigger mess. So should he look for some new representation? God, this is crazy.
That's a discussion between you and your client. I can't intervene in that. You're asking me to do fact-finding on behalf of your client so your client can make an informed decision.
Well,
Right.
I will file another motion for prosecutorial misconduct and ask for a hearing on that, and subpoena witnesses in. The state will move to quash the witnesses that I will be calling in, and we'll have hearings going down that path. But this is something, no offense to this court, but I do not know how this court says that's the only thing that matters to me. There's a whole laundry list that deal with not only conflict.
That's what I'm asking. Do you have any case law that tells me I have to do that? I'm happy to do that. You cited Rutledge, and I read Rutledge. Rutledge doesn't
I
say
have
any
no
of those
case law in
things.
front of me right now that says you have to
Come
do
on,
that.
guys.
But I would think it would be the inherent authority of this court that you should do that. And there's certainly nothing that says you can't do that.
That's usually that podium that talks to me about my inherent authority, which I don't exercise.
Leslie
I'm
said he
happy to
does
do
need
whatever
new
a
counsel.
statute, case law,
Well, let's-
criminal procedure tells me to do. I don't make up things on my own.
Then I ask the court, let's go one step at a time. Right now, Mr. Demmons now has been informed that Ms. Liberty is under investigation, and let us see what he decides. If he doesn't want us on the case anymore because of this, then all the things I've raised will be raised by another set of counsel. But if he
Yeah.
does, we will be filing other motions in order so that we can get these questions answered, because Mr. Demmons needs to know these before, quite candidly, he can make that choice. Now, he can say right now that he wants Miss Liberty, but after these facts come out, depending on what those facts are, he may decide he doesn't want Miss Liberty or the rest of the defense team. So we'll take it one step at a time.
So your request is you want me to hear any of these today? And
I don't think we can.
when would you like me to reset them?
I do not know how long it will take. Miss Liberty is not in town yet right now. She's on a plane. She got snowed in Montana yesterday. Drove from Montana to Seattle. She was on an airplane ready to come here, and they canceled the flight while she was on the tarmac. She got another flight, including Phoenix. She's now on a plane from Phoenix to here. almost all these motions that you went through are Miss Liberty's motions. So A, for logistical purposes, we can't hear those motions this morning at least. We're hoping that she's back at 1:30. But I do think it takes some time for us to talk to Mr. Demmons. She certainly needs to talk to Mr. Demmons. So, you know, you want to reset it for, I don't know if you can speak to him tonight sufficiently or not. You want to put it on for possible motions tomorrow and status tomorrow? You can, but I'm not sure that's enough time to talk to him.
It's not.
What needs to happen is the state needs to let them know what's going on in this investigation. And that's what the defense is pushing for. It's like, we need to know what's happening so we can figure out how we're going to move forward and how he can advise his client. And that's what he's trying to push the judge to figure out.
That's
It's
enough
a
time to
mess.
talk to him.
It's not enough time. Well, you can't do it.
It's not enough time.
And we need to know, if I may be heard.
Yes, sir.
We need to file, based upon your Honor's comments, we need to file a motion requesting certain things about this investigation. Concerning the tainting, whether or not they relayed any of that information to the prosecutors or the investigators in this case. And I want the court to know, they didn't tell us. Apple informed Miss Liberty that a search warrant was issued on her Apple account back on December 13, 2023. As a result of that, I contacted
Good morning, Mo.
the Broward Sheriff's Office and spoke to Christian Sabanis. And I sent him a text message that said, I was just advised that Broward Sheriff's Office issued a search warrant on Miss Liberty's Apple account on December 13, 2023, over 1 year ago. I would like to discuss this with you. He responded by saying, hi Stu, I have zero knowledge of this search warrant or its application. Your email is the first I have heard of this. I would defer to whoever the affiant was. I don't have access to that information. I in turn contacted the state, and they said they would get back to me, which I spoke for the first time this morning to the state concerning this. I think we need to know the procedure of the so-called tainting so that any privileged communications were not relayed to the prosecution team and or its investigators. We also need to know why, since Miss Liberty represents numerous other clients, whether or not they have severed or separated those privileged communications that have nothing to do with their so-called investigation. We need to find this out.
Well, do you even know the investigation has to do with this representation? That's exactly what I was just thinking, what you just said.
I assume it is, since it's issued from the Broward Sheriff's Office.
How do you know it isn't related to one of our other clients or one of our other cases?
Well,
And
that's
has
all I
anyone said
have.
anything that this has anything to do with Mr. Demmons?
I can't answer that without seeing the search warrant.
We're not here to make work. Does this have to do with Mr. Demmons?
It does, John.
Okay.
So can you give them a copy of the search warrant?
No, because it's a pending investigation that's still ongoing.
What? Oh man, the state is saying they're withholding it. This is crazy. Oh man, this is insane. So the judge asked the state head on, hey, does this have something to do with YNW Melly? I'm not trying to make more work here. If it's the lawyer's issue, it's the lawyer's issue. So does it have to apply to him? And the state says, yeah. The judge is like, okay, well then tell them what's going on. Oh, we can't because it's a pending investigation. Oh my gosh. Woo, y'all stay out of the system.
How does Mr. Demmons make a decision about whether he wants to waive any potential conflict or not without having
Exactly.
that information?
The only thing I can say, Your
Oh my
Honor, is
gosh.
again, it's a pending investigation. Knowing that she's under investigation is what Rutledge talks about. we can't give anything over until it's
Well,
officially completed.
With all due respect, but
It's
this is
BS.
the due process part, when the state's seeking the death penalty, the state's seeking the death penalty. So you need to turn over the affidavit and the search warrant, so the lawyers can make an informed decision. All right?
It does not have to do with the homicide case.
Well, in any case, he needs to know if there is a potential conflict of interest. He's either going to make an informed, intelligent waiver of that, or
This is crazy.
she will no longer be his lawyer. And then he has to make the same decision for all of his other lawyers. And he is going to trial September the 10th, 2025. So we need to do this now. So how long will it take for you to get a copy of the affidavit and a copy of the
Today.
search warrant and give it to opposing counsel?
Anything less than today is BS. Let's be real. How much time do they need? And as I just said, they're seeking the death penalty for this. YNW Melly's been in there for 5 years. It'll be 6 years on February 13th. Come on, man. Today. It's a search warrant.
I'll speak with my office and you can have a week to figure this out.
A week?
Judge, they've had since December of '23. They didn't even have the courtesy to inform us of a pending investigation. We have to learn this from Apple.
There you go. This is crazy. This chick just said a week. Did y'all hear this BS? They want a week to produce something that they've had. Judge, come on, man. Tell them today or tomorrow at the latest. Sheesh.
But you're telling me it relates to this case.
To the tampering case.
No
So
bail.
why would this be different than any other search warrant in any other criminal case? The defense
It's not.
counsel would be entitled to it.
It's not.
She's not a subject that's been charged yet, potentially could be. It's pending investigation. All I can say is, again, pending investigation, there is a team in place, and it's still pending. So it's not like we have to hand over discovery to her. She's not a listed defendant yet.
No, but let me repeat myself. Mr. Devens has to make an informed decision about who he wants his lawyers to be. He's now been sitting in our jail for 2,159 days. So how long would you like to be able to make that decision?
I can't determine when the investigation will be over. That's up to the Broward Sheriff's Office.
Look at Melly. He's like, y'all hear this?
I'm asking for a week to determine
Wow.
whether or not we file any sort of motion to prevent
Dang,
the
man.
search warrant from being handed over.
Mm-mm-mm.
I just can't imagine any legal grounds that would not happen in this particular case. It's a death penalty.
I understand that. And then I'm asking for at least a day or two, at
Can you
minimum.
decide by tomorrow? I've also reserved all of tomorrow. I took over Division FT. Judge Murphy had 44 pending first-degree murder cases. I've set them all for trial. I'm booked to trial through July of 2026.
Talk to him, Judge.
So if you all think I have 2 entire days at some point in the next 18 months to do these again, I do not. So
Understood.
I'm not sure what it is you want me to do. You don't want me to do anything else today.
We can't, under the Florida rules.
So do you want me to leave them on for tomorrow? You will have the balance of today to discuss all these issues with Mr. Devens, and state you will have the balance of today to discuss some reason why you can't just turn over this affidavit and search warrant.
That's
I
fine.
mean, it may be something innocuous. By the way, for the record, I don't know anything about this. No one brought me a search warrant, so. but
The
maybe
judge
that's-
doesn't even know.
Maybe it's something so de minimis that Mr. Devens is going to say, that's fine. If there's any conflict, I'll waive it, and let's get to work. Or if not, I guess he's going to have to go find 5 other lawyers to do this who are going to be ready to try a capital case in 9 months. So how about tomorrow at 9:30?
We'll be here.
State tomorrow at 9:30?
That's fine, Judge.
And it can't.
My question is, for the legal system, why in the hell would the state say, Judge, it's going to take us 2 weeks. It's going to take us a week. It's going to take us 72 hours, 48 hours to produce something that should be and must be already on file. This makes no sense. Ah, y'all stay out of the system, man. My gosh, don't even speed. Drive the speed limit wherever you go. It's not worth it. It's crazy.
The answer can't be, my office told me XYZ. Someone better be standing here with some authority that tells me they can't do it.
Talk to him, Judge.
Okay?
Judge, one other thing.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned about the trial schedule, and we're obviously going to try to do it.
God, man.
I just want to let you know, the matters that were appealed are still up in front of the 4th DCA. The state, I believe, just filed the last document in the case, or there may be one more that they need to file, one more reply brief. I would suspect that it's going to be set down for oral argument, and then I don't know when we will get a ruling. The problem is the stay that was issued by your previous judge, we cannot go into anything on any type of discovery as far as depositions, as far as motions, as far as anything dealing with the matters that are up on appeal. So when that all comes back, we will be rushed to get everything else done. Just want to let the court know. We're under the mercy of the 4th.
Is there anything pending at the 4th DCA regarding the tampering?
Yes, everything that was on the homicide is also on appeal for the tampering because it's the same evidence.
Yep.
And Judge Murphy.
I got it, Shane. Thank you.
Entered an order that says you can't do depositions.
We can do depositions on things that aren't on appeal. So we have been doing depositions on things that aren't on appeal.
For example, you did not read, unless I missed it, but there is a motion in which I'm asking the court to make the state tell us what of the 2 million or whatever amount of Instagram messages they intend to use at trial. That was filed a long time ago. We can't have that hearing because the Instagram messages, the whole thing is up on appeal. So we can't even go into that motion. Those are some of the things that await you.
Well, couldn't I give you rulings on all those, depending on what, if I rule some messages are in and some messages are out, your example, and the 4th DCA says they're all out, then they're all out.
Yeah, he has
Judge,
zero
I
poker
wanted
face.
to move this case. I'm just.
Do you have any objection to doing that?
We're not the ones that filed this day.
Do you all have an objection to doing that?
Well, I think I'm confused on the motion that you're bringing up because all of the Instagram, if I remember correctly, I'd have to look, is up on appeal.
Right.
So, I mean, it would kind of a waste of time to do the motion.
Oh, no, a waste of time is reserving 2 entire court days and doing nothing. That's a waste of time. So do you have any objection to going forward and
Dang, Judge.
hearing and ruling on any and everything that's pending?
Hey, is his last name Fiend? Is that how you pronounce it? F-E-I-N? Shout out to Judge Fiend up in here. State don't like this guy.
I think that we should start with the things that don't affect the appeal, and then, because there's plenty of those to be heard,
I like
and
it.
then we can go forward potentially with the other ones.
And I'll be candid, I did not think we were hearing the Instagram matter
Get him.
whatsoever. So I have not looked at that motion.
Okay, so why don't we do it this way, all right? He's going to remain on the docket tomorrow. I have a few other matters on both FX and FT, so let's call it 9:30 tomorrow.
Yes,
And defense, you can come in and tell me if you had a chance to talk to your client, because if he's going to waive any potential conflict, then I guess it doesn't matter.
Yes, it does, Your Honor, because he'd be waiving a conflict without knowing what's in the search warrant affidavit.
Correct.
So therefore it would be an invalid waiver because he's not totally informed of the facts.
He doesn't need to know that, though.
Okay, you're going to tell me what you want to do, state, maybe you can identify the motions that you think we can go forward. I mean,
We sort of addressed it in the motion to strike the notice because we've been asking since our hearing in October to know what motions are going forward the next 2 days. Couldn't get an answer. We've asked in depositions from Ms. Liberty, couldn't get an answer. We emailed, we couldn't get an answer. And then just a few days ago, we got a notice of hearing. Half those motions aren't even filed within the court file, in honesty.
Dang.
So we identified, I think, 4 that we are ready to go on, that we filed responses on. There's no motion filed for some of these
you're going to go to
titles.
trial in September. All right. I'm not prejudging things.
I hope so, Judge.
No, I can absolutely guarantee you, he's going to go to trial in September. So I'm going to do everything that I can. If I have to rule on things during trial, which is an awful way to do things, because I know you both.
Oh, shout out to Glanville. He said if I have to rule on things during trial, which is an awful way to do things. We saw that all up in the YSL trial. Judge Whitaker was doing it too.
If I have to rule on things during trial, which is an awful way to do things, because I know you both know, but if that's what it comes to, then that's what we're going to do. So,
Assuming we're still on the case. And that's a big assumption at this moment.
It's taking
And
shots
they're
at
still
Glanville.
asking for proper notice of what we're actually
I
going to
did,
hear.
well, I'll take the blame for that. All pending motion. That's why I put that down to the end of the law. All pending motion. They're asking for I believe, they're asking for a Daubert hearing on cell phone records. They're asking for a Daubert hearing on some other matter, cell phone mapping. There's a whole bunch of things that can.
Some of those have already been ruled on, Your Honor. The ones that they've noticed, I think, and again, Ms. Liberty admitted to this the last time we were here in front of Your Honor, that she filed things on the wrong case number, wrong title, and she's going to fix that. None of it has been fixed. So the state is entitled to proper notice so that we can respond accordingly.
We'll see you tomorrow morning. Fair enough?
Okay, I'll see you at 9:30 tomorrow. Ms. Wilcox, does that otherwise conclude FX and FT for today? Okay, so the FX and FT are both going to otherwise be in recess until tomorrow, which is?
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
I've been told that Mr. Demons has federal court tomorrow morning on his civil hearing. Does corrections have any idea of that?
Not tomorrow, sir.
Huh?
It's not tomorrow.
It's not tomorrow?
I believe it's January 17th.
17th. Forget what I just said. Thank you. We don't represent him on that.
Tomorrow is Tuesday, January the 7th. FX and FT will be in recess until then at 8:45 a.m. I hope you all have a good rest
Thank
of
you.
your morning. All right, Mr. Court Reporter, that is it.
Crazy, man. You can't be trying criminals doing criminal stuff.
Yes. Yes. You say right now? Oh, okay. 10 minutes.
Here.
No. The jail.
At the jail.
Thank you. Thank you. May we be excused?
Well,
Yeah, we're tomorrow. Have a
that
good
was
morning.
uneventful.
Use your time wisely.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. Looks like that's gonna be it. Y'all say everybody looks like Doug Weinstein. They do not all look the same. Dang. He does. I could kind of see it, but I mean, hey. Oh man, this is some total BS. It's shout out to Law and Crime for the great coverage as well. It's amazing to me that these prosecutors, whether it's here in Fulton County or across the street during this YNW Melly trial, that they just try and push and push and push and push. And this lawyer, this attorney, where there could be a possible conflict of interest, possible impact to their client, is being investigated. And the state's just like, well, you know, it's an ongoing investigation, so we don't have to, we're not going to say anything. I'll figure it out. And then when these charges actually come up, then what'll happen? This will be delayed for another year. And then another year after that, as he finds new counsel, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. So I don't know. And I just wanted to make a blanket statement. If you cannot look at these things objectively, please unsubscribe, block this channel, leave this channel, because everybody can get the smoke. The prosecution, the defense, Melly, the judge, everybody can get smoke here because we look at things objectively. So we take it on a case by case basis, day by day. If the defense is acting up and they're doing things they're not supposed to be doing, we're going to hold them accountable here. The state's doing it, which they typically do, we're going to hold them accountable. But in most cases, it can seem like that there's some bias there. And I think that's just because the state doesn't do their job in most cases. They try and skirt the rules. They try and use the system to their advantage. So yeah, it can look like, oh, well, the evidence is showing this guy did this and this. Okay, sure, maybe. I don't know. But that still doesn't take away his right to a fair trial. And that's what we're talking about here. Anyway, shout out to the gang, man. Appreciate y'all rocking with us for that one. This is gonna be crazy. I want to see what y'all are saying, and I have to shout out some folks who were showing some love over here too. Amber Rain in the building, gifted 5 memberships. So if you got a membership from Amber Rain, please make sure that you say thank you. And she also dropped the 10 bomb saying thank you. Shout out to Amber. I appreciate you. That's why you're my favorite. Thank you for the love and the support. What else are y'all saying? This is crazy. Facts over feeling always. Exactly. The state definitely be corrupt and the defense be bugging sometimes too. And we call it out. Yeah, we call it out. Bayou says he's been in solitary for years. He's probably happy just to be around people, and I'm sure his folks are there. This man is facing the death penalty. The death penalty. All right. So, I mean, dang. He should at least get a fair trial. Can we agree on that, Mopo? Mopo just wants to go ahead and throw him under the jail. Jeez. I agree, innocent until proven guilty. I also say people with all this attention know better than to let themselves be around that type of ish once you reach a certain height. I don't think they can get away from it, Top Shelf Mexican, to be honest. It seems like a lot of these people, they just get stuck in this certain mindset. A lot of them don't evolve, and especially when they're benefiting from staying in that lifestyle and built their whole empire, their whole entire lifestyle off of what they've been through in the past. It's kind of tough to get away. Call it arrested development or whatever you want to call it. It's it's tough, man. And sometimes you feel like you owe something to those people too. What else are y'all saying in here? And shout out to Amy, my awesome, amazing Amy in here, reminding y'all, please make sure you like the video. Likes are free, and it does help the channel continue to grow. All right, y'all give me, let me see. We're going to have a brief intermission, and then we have a few other things we're going to get into. We're going to see what's going on with this Julio Foolio trial that was supposed to start this week and has been delayed. We're going to get into more of this lawsuit with Joy Taylor and Skip Bayless too, because this thing is crazy. So y'all give me 1 second, and we'll get into the next part of our show.
I can do what I want when I want to do it. I can do what I need when I need to get through it. When I need someone else, can't be too proud for help, but gotta look after myself. Sometimes it can get lonely, never living in the moment. When the sun is shining, hope that I'm reminded, like how the clouds keep changing. I'm always steady rearranging, going back to the basics of what a good day is. What a good day is. And that's exactly what the day is. But it's exactly what you make it. So please don't go wasting. And I'll do the same, even if it's raining. How could I complain? And my feels got me feeling some type of way. You always free to take a break. Hope you feel what I felt. You gotta look after yourself. Sometimes it can get lonely, never living in the moment. When the sun is shining, hope that I'm reminded,
right, there it is. Shout out to Keely, man.
And that's exactly what today.
Yeah, I see a lot of y'all in the comments saying you were feeling that song. If you want to be able to find that song, the link is in the description. Y'all can find it. Go show some love and support to Keely with that one. The song is titled Today, and you can listen to it. It's out everywhere. One of my favorite songs for sure. Great way to set the mood. All right, let me read a couple more comments, and then we will get into what's going on with this Julio Foolio murder trial that was supposed to be starting today, but looks like it's going to be postponed, unfortunately. What are y'all saying in here? When you've been in the justice system and see how crooked prosecutors handle folks live, it hits different. Peach Just Me says, yes. Oh man. And I've even, again, I always bring this up. My time serving on the grand jury and going through hundreds and hundreds of indictments was eye-opening about this system and how it works. It's wild out here. Nancy says, what happened to the black lady that used to sit next to him? That is Miss Liberty, the lady in question. There's yeah. Is that who you're talking about? Or are you talking about somebody else? Or the other one that got fired for bringing pictures to, because there's two of them. This whole case is wild. We're going to get into some of the details a little bit later. Michi says, I listened to that song while in Japan at the View. It was really therapeutic. I'm telling you. Yeah. Keely, that's one of my favorite songs for sure. She did a great job with it. All right, let's go ahead and get into this next topic. So as y'all know, today we were supposed to start with court proceedings for one of the defendants in this Julio Foolio murder trial. And her name is Alicia Andrews. Alicia Andrews is accused of being basically the one that gave up Julio Foolio's location. She was involved in everything that went down with the shooting. Also, she is currently 8+ months pregnant almost. So she's about to have a baby in the next few weeks or so. So now we're finding out this trial was postponed. We're going to look into and see the proceedings and figure out what exactly happened and why they decided to put a hold on everything. Shout out to Law and Crime for this video.
I did get an email saying that she's stuck in traffic. I think Connie might have, Jay might have been copied to it, not yourself,
Okay,
but saying that she's stuck in traffic and on the way.
all right. I'll let Mr. McLyment know. He's appearing via Zoom, so.
Cool.
There she is. And that is Alicia Andrews, for those of y'all who are wondering. We covered her story in a couple other videos, so you can go back and check them out.
Yeah, I know this. Shut down, check it.
Trouble finding that.
Let's skip forward a little bit.
She in traffic on her way here.
Okay, Judge, that's no problem.
Okay, so as soon as she's here, I'll be back.
Okay.
Okay, just let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's rough, man. Being along for the ride is an understatement. All right, let me skip ahead in this video a little bit. Y'all see Alicia Andrews there. We should be good to go.
Miss Hurdle,
There
I
we
think
go.
there's no way for is on Zoom. Who's going to be arguing this motion for the defense?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay, you may proceed, Miss Hurdle.
Yes, at this point, I don't touch the bench.
Oh,
It's okay, let's say that.
yeah, right. I'm just trying to think. There's no way for Mr. McLymont to participate in this discussion. So does he need to be?
Probably not. It's okay.
Okay, Mr. McClymont, Ms. Hurdle has asked that, to approach the bench. So I'm going to let her, but there's no way for me to allow you to participate, to keep it confidential since you're on Zoom. So,
That's fine, Judge.
okay, very good.
Yeah, I wish the audio on this was better. Yeah, he was definitely
So
set
I'm
up.
back, Mr. McClymont. So this was Ms. Hurdle's motion to continue. And Mr. McClymont, had you filed a motion to withdraw?
I think I'll want to withdraw, Judge. I'm withdrawing the motion to withdraw.
Okay, so you're going to remain as counsel.
Yes.
And are you adopting the emergency motion to continue trial?
Yeah, I did file a waiver of speedy trial, and I will be adopting
Okay, so I will,
just on this basis.
okay. So I will grant the motion with the waiver of speedy trial. And Ms. Hurdle, do you have a motion at this time?
Yes, Your Honor, at this time, I am making a motion to withdraw
Okay,
as counsel.
and Ms. Andrews, you understand what's happening here? Okay, so Mr. McClymont is going to stay on as your counsel. Ms. Hurdle is going to withdraw as your counsel. And due to that fact, there's no way they could be ready, Mr. McClymont could be ready for trial on Monday,
Crazy.
as this case is currently scheduled. Okay, so then he has entered a waiver of speedy trial on your behalf. So I do want to get a new trial date on the calendar because I know the attorneys for the state are very busy. This court's busy. So Mr. McClymont, do you have your calendar handy?
Yes, Judge. That is.
Okay.
She's gonna have that baby in jail.
So I can tell you all, I don't have any availability currently until August. So let's start with the state, and it would probably be August 18th, August 25th, somewhere around there. Let's say the 18th.
Judge, I'd be fine if we started on the 18th because I have another homicide trial on September 8th.
Okay,
So as long as, yes, if we started on the 18th and had 2 weeks, I think that would be fine.
That's also fine, but this is fine myself. Right?
okay. And Mr. McClymont, how are you looking then?
Yeah, it's rough.
That date was soon.
Okay, and actually, because we're gonna need, how many jurors did we say we're gonna need?
70.
70. Oh, we're fine. Then we can keep it on the 18th. All right. So then we will go ahead and reset this case for trial beginning Monday, August the 18th at 9 a.m. And I'll set aside 2 weeks. It's not going to take a full 2 weeks, but in abundance of caution, I'll set it aside. But I'm thinking it'll be more like a week and a day or a week and a 2 days max. So we have a status with the other defendants, I think. Let me look here. March 31st at 10 a.m. So we will set Ms. Andrews for status as well. And for that hearing, Mr. McClymont, if you would like to appear via Zoom, you can. You just know the drill. You got to let
Yes,
me
sir.
know ahead of time.
Understood, Judge.
And then if for some reason that status, if an evidentiary matter has to be heard on that date and time, then obviously you'd have to make the trip up from Miami if it involved your client. But if not, if you're just appearing just for a status to check in, then you can appear via Zoom. Okay. Is there anything else that we need to discuss?
That confirm, we've been working on witness and exhibit lists. Can we strike that they be done by today?
Yes. Okay. was going to enter an order and the order will have in it the dates that were that I ordered at the motion hearing. But obviously you guys will know, since the case is being continued, that the court's instruction that you all have your witness and exhibit list done by 5 p.m. today, that is now stricken. Okay. All right. Anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further, Mr. McLament?
No, Judge.
Okay. All right, Ms. Hurdle, anything further? Okay. All right, very good. We're concluded.
That's it. So she about to have that baby in prison. And y'all were asking what she's charged with right now. Is premeditated first-degree murder with a firearm. She was involved. You get the same charges as the people who committed the crime. Choose your friends wisely. Conspiracy to commit premeditated first-degree murder with a firearm. Of course, because she was involved. So sad to see this, man. Sad to see Julio, even though he was pushing the issue, lost his life in the way it was set up. It's messy, man. Messy, messy, messy. So we're going to be covering this once the trial date actually continues. Let me know what y'all think is going to happen in this instance, because as we looked at, Alicia is not afraid to talk. She's been talking a lot about what's gone down. Maybe we're looking at a plea at some point. Let me know what y'all think. My dog CG Beats is in the building. Good to see you in here, man. Accessory to murder. Yeah, basically. Rice Street said, what's wrong with just being a good person nowadays? It's too easy. I mean, we have all the information out here. I sit up in here 2 hours every day for the past 6 months talking about how trash the system is and how y'all need to stay out of the system. Hopefully it'll be enough one day. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Oh, man. Let's get into this next topic here, because this one I know y'all are going to love and enjoy this topic, and I can't wait to hear what y'all think about it. So we've got some updates on what's going on in Rice Street. All right, let me see if I could find. Oh no, where did it go? We're gonna put Fanny up there. All right, here we go. Oh, we're gonna start with Doug Weinstein. So, oh man, we just heard back from the Department of Justice and Sheriff Labatt. One second. And Sheriff Labatt on what's going to happen when it comes to the renovation of Rice Street. As y'all know, we reviewed what was going on in Rice Street in great detail, and we looked at the Department of Justice report and saw everything that was wrong with Rice Street. But for some reason, the Department of Justice decided to keep it open. Now they came out with this report saying, okay, here are the changes we're going to make. Here's how we're going to implement them. And we're going to get into everything here in a second. Doug Weinstein has some thoughts on it, especially considering that his former client is now being held in a Fulton County jail. Check it out. Shout out to Uncle Doug.
I have some thoughts. Apparently the DOJ and the Fulton County Sheriff's Office have reached a consent agreement on how to improve conditions at the jail. There are a number of, by the way, here's Joseph Papp, who has reported it in the AJC. There are a number of conditions in the consent agreement. I'm really looking forward to reading the whole thing. I just got a full copy of the attachment with everything in it, so I will be going through that. I think a highlight is essentially an agreement to do what the hell they should have been doing the past few years anyway, which is to properly care for the people that are incarcerated there. It also calls for basically a neutral monitor who will monitor those conditions, monitor compliance with the consent, and every 6 months will provide a report. A judge will have to sign off on this in order for it to become official, an official order that is binding on all parties. So I'll have more on this later, but this is a pretty big deal, I hope.
Yeah, we'll see. Shout out to Uncle Doug for that. We're actually going to go ahead and get into the AJC's article, and it gives a great summary of what's actually happening in this agreement and what Fulton County is expected to do. Y'all have to let me know if you think they're going to follow through with it. Department of Justice, Fulton County reached legal agreement to improve conditions at the jail. All right, shout out to Joseph Pat for this article. The U.S. Department of Justice and Fulton County have reached a legal agreement known as a consent decree. And we've got the full consent decree. I'll go through some of it. We'll read about 10 pages of it, giving more detail into actually what they're planning on implementing to resolve deplorable and unsafe conditions at the Fulton County Jail on Rice Street. The agreement, which must still be approved by a federal judge, requires the Fulton County and the Sheriff's Office to address numerous problems outlined in a November report, which found jail conditions were abhorrent, unconstitutional, and violated the 8th and 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. The probe at Rice Street facility and 3 annexes found authorities frequently failed to protect inmate safety, presiding over an environment that has led to homicides, stabbing, and assault. Guards too often resorted to violence against detainees following small infractions and used solitary confinement in unconstitutional and discriminatory ways, according to the report. Compliance will be overseen by an independent monitor chosen by Fulton County, the Sheriff's Office, and the Department of Justice. The agreement does not specify a deadline for the county to address all the concerns raised in the investigation, although it does require the full compliance be maintained for a year before the agreement can be terminated, said Ryan Buchanan. The U.S. So basically, they have to be good for a year, and then it's like, oh, okay, you guys look like you're doing a good job. We'll let you loose. This is so annoying. We have an optimistic idea that we can make a difference in the jail, which is so important to us and this community, Buchanan said. And by the way, I didn't read this. Ryan Buchanan is the U.S. attorney for the Northern District of Georgia. Buchanan said the consent decree requires the Sheriff's Office to make improvements to the physical jail facilities as well as the patterns and practices that contribute to the violence in the jail, which are inextricably intertwined. As part of the agreement, the Sheriff's Office must, here we go, they have to develop plan and policies to keep incarcerated people safe from violence, improve supervision and staffing, maintain doors and locks in working order. That's the biggest thing. Require staff to abide by constitutional standards when using force, take steps to protect incarcerated people at the risk of suicide, and to afford incarcerated people adequate medical and mental health care. They have to develop and implement a comprehensive housekeeping plan and pest management system to keep the jail clean, sanitary, and free of pests. Stop the use of isolation or restrictive housing of vulnerable people who are at substantial risk of self-harm or other negative mental health outcomes, absent specific and significant protections. Facilitate the provisions of adequate special education services to children with disabilities in the jail. Saying children in jail is crazy. You know what the saddest part about this is? All these things they have to implement, you would assume that these would already be implemented in the jail. Isn't this the reason, the entire reason we brought Sheriff Labat in here? It's his priority. Well, it's supposed to be his priority. It's his responsibility for sure to get this done. And we're talking about improving the supervision and staffing, maintaining locks and doors in working order. That's just standard. That's like you going to a hotel and just hoping that they have a bed in the room and a place for you to sleep. Like, isn't that the whole reason we're there? The independent monitor will track implementation of those requirements and will issue a public report on the jail's progress every 6 months. So they're going to do it twice, because if they're good for a whole year, right, then they can get out of this entire situation that they're in, and the Department of Justice will pat them on the head and say, keep up the great work, guys. See ya. And they'll be out of here. Buchanan said the Department of Justice is not prescribing the dollar figure necessary to bring the jail into compliance with the federal law. Okay, so that means it's up to this guy. Do y'all trust anybody in Fulton County to correctly appropriate funds? I don't. The sheriff's office said in a statement that it has been working closely with federal officials regarding conditions at the jail and on the requirement listed in the decree, on the requirements listed in the decree. The consent order is a roadmap to a better future for our facility staff and individuals entrusted to our care. Fulton Sheriff Patrick Labat said in a statement, together, these opportunities will build meaningful and long-lasting change. Yeah, we'll see about that. Fulton County officials said on Friday they are committed to collaborating with the Department of Justice, the sheriff, and others to fulfill terms of the agreement. County Commission Chairman Rob Pitts noted that last year, the Board of Commissioners committed to investing, and I keep bringing this up to $300 million. $300 million, y'all. In facility improvements. He added that a contract has been approved with the project manager who is beginning a facility assessment. I tried to get them to hire me as the project manager. I don't know. I guess I called Patrick Labat out too many times. They didn't answer my phone calls or emails. So looks like we're out of the 300 million. Maybe next time. Pitts also mentioned the $13 million Blitz program to repair housing units at Rice Street Jail. Okay, that's good. He said that started in 2023 and is on track to finish within 90 days. So this Blitz has taken 2 years. I shouldn't laugh, but god dang, man. What kind of Blitz program is that? You got $13 million and it's taking you 2+ years to get this work done. Oh, it's on track to finish in the next 90 days. Yeah. Oh, man. The Blitz work includes replacing all lighting, fixing cell doors and locks, repairing all plumbing, and resealing all concrete walls, he said. So no more nut juice, I guess. I don't know what's going on here. He added that in August, the county commissioners allotted $3.2 million for jail repairs that included upgrading fire alarms, replacing kitchen and laundry equipment, and modernizing all elevators. Can we get the showers fixed, please? The problem at the Fulton County Jail did not arise in a day and will not be fixed in a day, Pitts said. But I'm determined that they will be fixed. What kind of Blitz program takes 2 years? Pitts also sought to distance the county from responsibility for managing of the jail, which the sheriff's office does using funds provided by the Board of Commissioners. Interesting. If you read the Department of Justice study, you'll note one thing is crystal clear. The majority of their findings relate to the management of the jail and not the physical plant for which the Fulton County government is responsible for, he said. That's important to note. So, hey, it's not our fault. Labat and commissioners often sparred over the sheriff's use of funds and his overall approach to jail operations. I wonder why. They also differ on whether the new $1.7 billion facility should be built or if the existing jail should be revamped. The civil rights advocacy group Color of Change said in a statement that they applaud the agreement and still have major concerns about leadership in the sheriff's office. I do not applaud the agreement. You know why? Because after a year, the Department of Justice is going to take their hands off of this. And clearly, as we've seen with other things in Fulton County, these people in office, people with a certain authority, they need their hand held. So I'm reluctant to applaud anything at this point. We'll wait and see the results. And also, we have to note that there is a lawsuit, several lawsuits actually, pending against Fulton County, and specifically how this jail was run. We went through all the details there. Y'all can watch that in the video I'll have in the description. Until you address the sheriff, until you address the culture, and until you address the trust, the county runs the risk of repeating its history of death and destruction with respect to the jail, said Michael Collins, senior director of the organization. Labat won re-election to a new 4-year term in November. The Department of Justice began investigating the Fulton County Jail in July of 2023 after the death of LaShawn Thompson. We went through what happened with LaShawn Thompson as well in the jail's psychiatric wing. An autopsy found that Thompson's death was due to severe neglect, and photos showed him covered in insects in a cell filled with garbage. Opened in 1989, the Fulton County Jail was under federal supervision between 2006 and 2015. It currently houses roughly 2,000 people, down from the more than 3,200 who were there 18 months ago. More than 60 inmates died in the jail between 2009 and October of 2022, the highest total for any jail in Georgia during that time, according to an Atlanta Journal-Constitution investigation. 10 more inmates died in custody in 2023. What do y'all think, man? Is there hope for this Fulton County Jail? Is Rice Street just gonna look brand new and be a destination point for all inmates? I highly doubt it. And especially with Fulton County seeming to have an out within the first 12 months of this agreement. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. Let me know what y'all think in the comments in the chat. Shout out to everybody who's been showing love. I see y'all dropping super chats over there too. My guy, Dr. EJ is in the building, just dropped a 50 bomb. Oh my gosh. He says, thank you for what you do. It's so much better than CNN. Oh man. Dr. EJ, you're setting the bar really low with that one. I'm pretty sure my 9-year-old son could do a better show than CNN. I'm just saying. But thank you either way. I appreciate the sentiment. Shout out to Dr. EJ for the 50 bomb. We've also got Ducky Dexter in here with the 2 bomb. Says Happy New Year. Thank you so much for all you guys do. Thank you, Ducky Dexter. And then of course my awesome, amazing Amy in here with the cake. All right. Y'all know what time it is. Shout out to Amy. Thank you for the super chat and the super sticker from y'all. And shout out to my guy, Dr. EJ, as well. Let me see what y'all are saying. Oh, Dr. EJ just gifted 5 memberships as well. Let me go ahead and put him up in the banner for showing love. I gotta give him another round of applause. Shout out to Dr. EJ, man. I appreciate you. Put him right up there with Amber Rain, making it rain. And if y'all got a membership from Dr. EJ, make sure you say thank you. He did not have to do that. He's always in here showing love too. All right, so who else did I see? I saw one other comment I wanted to read. Deranged says true, but if there is no one in charge of the jail, you're gonna get riots. What do you expect? Yeah, it's just a mess. Syndicated News says Fulton County, Georgia, Department of Justice, CAS accepted the funds. Who signed? Fannie Willis. Now they just want to know where the money is. They delivered it already. The Fulton County officials went silent. And we've seen this multiple times. Oh, Dottie's in the building too. Shout out to Amazing Grace. Hope you have an amazing day as well, Grace. Thanks for stopping by. And I love and appreciate you as well. This is something that we're going to continue to see, and we have seen with Fulton County. And again, this part bothers me, where they only have to have this implemented for a year. Let me go back and make sure I read that right, because y'all know I'm being here struggling. Let me see where it says. They got the Blitz program. The independent monitor will track implementation of those requirements and will issue a public reporting on the jail's progress every 6 months. So they've got every 6 months there. And then where did it say how long they were going to be in here? Buchanan said the consent decree requires the sheriff office to make jail improvements and practicing consistency. Compliance will be overseen by an independent monitor chosen by Fulton County, the Sheriff Office, and the Department of Justice. The agreement does not specify a deadline. Here we go. A deadline for the county to address all of the concerns. So basically it's open-ended as long as they get it fixed in the next, let's say by 21, 25. Ooh, they'll be happy. So there's no specific deadline for the county to address all of the concerns raised in the investigation, although it does require that full compliance be maintained for a year before the agreement can be terminated. Yeah, so all they have to do is put in the work and fix these basic level stuff. Like, hey, can we not have bed bugs? Hey guys, can we fix the doors? Can we have good staff? Can we just put some policies and implement some plans that will take care of the use of excessive force. And they just have to do that for a year. I mean, why not just hire an independent, take some of that 300 million, hire some independent company to do that. Say, hey, if you guys do well, we'll keep you in here for another 2 years. Okay, we'll do well, fine. So they put them in there for a year. They do amazing. Have a great review. The Department of Justice says, well, our job's done here. We'll see you guys later. Patrick Labat keeps them in there for another year. After those 2 years, to say, hey, well, we're running out of money again, so we had to fire them. And that was it. It's we already see how this is gonna go. I'll try and say and stay optimistic about this, especially considering so many guys who are being held in this Fulton County prison system are innocent. They're just sitting there waiting for court dates and been in there for, what did we say the average was? 290 something days. Terrible. Rice Street said the Bliss program is a wonderful program. And if you don't get out of here with that. Also, Dr. EJ says you're way better than those other outlets. Thank you, Dr. EJ. Until you count the money, you have 3,000 inmates. Half are the state, the other half are federal inmates. Let's say you get 150 a day for state inmates, 200 a day for federal inmates, and add 365 days. Do the math. Oh yeah, right. I mean, funds is not an issue. Come on. We trying. Can we get a pat on the back for that? What? No, Rice Street. You cannot. We will show you no love. I want to see results, and hopefully we'll get there as well. All right, so we got into those. I was gonna go through this full. Where did it go? I was gonna go through this full consent. I'll maybe read like 10 pages of it at some point. Let's see, what time is it? We're getting close to lunch, but I mean, this thing is 72 pages long. I have not read the full thing. I'm about halfway through it, but I wanted to get to page, where are we going? Page 56-ish. So we might read this a little bit later, but y'all know we gotta talk about the drama. Okay. I just dropped the video on this earlier. If y'all have not heard about this lawsuit, we're gonna get a little bit away from the music industry for a minute and Fulton County. We're growing over here on the Music Morning Show. And we gotta talk about this lawsuit against Fox, Skip Bayless, and Joy Taylor. This thing is absolutely insane. Let me read a couple more comments and we'll get into it. Shout out to Amy for reminding me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. If y'all are interested in hearing some music from some of the amazing artists in this community and who come to the community on a daily basis, make sure you tune into the show tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Even if you're not an artist, you still have an opportunity to win some door prizes just for tuning into the show. So if y'all want to check out another dope live stream, you get the layback, listen to some great music, have a good time in the chat. Make sure you tune in tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Song of the Night Live. It's going to be great. Syndicated News says, why did Fanny do this? In order to portray herself as the Rico Queen. She got a lot of Rico indictments and a lot of Rico charges out of this YSL trial. So it's working for her so far. I mean, she's majorly fumbled on this, the Trump case, but she's appealing it right now. Anything can happen. Again, this system is so messed up in so many ways. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. But either way, let's go ahead and get into what's going on with this lawsuit. Y'all, this lawsuit against Fox News, Joy Taylor, and Skip Bayless is crazy. All right. So the plaintiff in this case is Mrs. Faraji. And what happened with her is she was hired at Fox to do hair for some of the females. Initially, she worked closely with Joy Taylor, and then eventually she started doing some work for some of the other personalities at Fox Sports, and specifically FS1. A lot of them, you know, Skip Bayless, Joy Taylor, as I mentioned, She even came in contact with Acho. Y'all have seen him on Speak. It was Speak for Yourself at some point. I think now it's Speak. And we're going to get into this and see what story she's telling, what she's actually looking for, and what Miss Faraji had to deal with at FS1, allegedly. All right. So in another video, if y'all haven't seen it, I'll have it linked in the description. I went through everything that happened here and gave you guys a summary of what's going on. Basically, she got hired. She started to see some things going on between Joy Taylor and one executive at Fox Sports. That executive then pressured Skip Bayless to give Joy Taylor her initial role on Skip and Shannon's Undisputed. Right. And that's kind of where we left things off. Now we get into what happened with Mrs. Faraji when she came in contact with this executive, Mr. Dixon, I gotta be careful how I read these. Mr. Dixon. All right, let's see what she has to say. Oh man, this is gonna be interesting. All right. Mr. Dixon gropes Miss Faraji after putting her on Undisputed. On January 14th, 2017, Joy Taylor had a birthday party at Pearl's rooftop in West Hollywood. Miss Faraji and other Fox employees who were invited attended as it was a part of their job duties to appease the talent, and a birthday party is an important event. As usual, Mr. Dixon, this is the executive, he's basically in charge of how content is handled at FS1 specifically. Mr. Dixon was heavily drinking, buying drinks for everyone on a Fox credit card, and blustering that everyone purchased that everything purchased was on Fox's dime. As Miss Faraji was standing near the bar facing the crowd, Mr. Dixon approached her. He asked the bartender for a drink and then placed his arm on Miss Faraji's lower back. He asked how she was doing, if she was having fun, and if she wanted a tequila shot. Miss Faraji felt very uncomfortable by his unsolicited touching and responded, "No, thank you." Mr. Dixon then moved his hand lower and started rubbing her body and grabbing her booty. Oh, Lord. Miss Faraji was mortified, but quickly thought to fake an incoming call to escape from the situation. Miss Faraji did not know who to turn to, but she knew Miss Taylor, or Joy Taylor, was sleeping with Mr. Dixon. She turned to her. Surprisingly, Miss Taylor responded to, "Get over it," and explained that she herself only had her job because of Mr. Dixon, and that Miss Faraji only had her job because Miss Taylor requested her. Wow, Joy Taylor, man, pulling rank there. She warned that Mr. Dixon could take both away. All right, Mr. Dixon. I'm going to say, what's his first name? I got to go back and look at his first name because saying Mr. Dixon is not working out for me. Miss Faraji was terrified and then turned to her co-worker, who will remain anonymous, to discuss the situation. The co-worker responded that Mr. Dixon was disgusting and that the entire situation was sick, but that it wasn't shocking given Fox's culture, and that Miss Faraji should remain quiet if she wanted to keep her job. As a single mother who needed the job to support her son, Miss Faraji had no choice but to remain silent. Wow. 7 years later in 2023, Miss Peretti, and this was Miss Faraji's boss. So basically Fox they had a company that they went through to hire people to work for FS1, right? She told Miss Faraji that she didn't like her or anything about Undisputed. Miss Peretti explained that she had already scheduled someone for a hair on Undisputed when Mr. Dixon called her and told her that she must put Miss Faraji on Undisputed full time. Miss Peretti told Miss Faraji, "I didn't like that. That's not how things should be done." Miss Faraji was stunned and devastated as she prized herself on her work and earning her accolades. Later that day, while thinking about her career, she was angry with Miss Peretti, succumbed to Mr. Dixon's request, as it gave Mr. Dixon the feeling that he could grope her for giving her a job. Oh man, Mr. Dixon, y'all said, y'all are crazy. Mr. Dixon gets rid of female talent member for refusing to, let's just say, have sex with him. All right. Several years into Ms. Faraji's tenure at Fox, a female talent member who's going to remain anonymous hired Ms. Faraji to do her hair at her house for an awards show. The anonymous claimant asked Ms. Faraji to meet her for lunch first. There, the anonymous told Ms. Faraji that she would no longer be with Fox, as Mr. Dixon told her that she would need to have sex with him if she wanted to renew her contract, but she refused. Oh. Now let's think about this. I want to think about the timing on this. It could have been anybody, but they name her in here as a female talent member, which means she was probably on the show, which means it could have been several people. I know Jenny Taft was in there. She was co-hosting, or she was helping host Undisputed at one point. Trying to think of other females who would have been on the network. Anyway, y'all let me know in the comments. Y'all probably be more knowledgeable about it and be able to pinpoint who this was. She doesn't give a timestamp for this. It just says she was several years into her tenure, so it could have been anybody. Either way, she told her that she would no longer be at Fox. And she said Mr. Dixon wanted to have sex with her, but she refused. And then Anonymous further conveyed that Mr. Dixon was doing this to other female talent. She would warn Miss Taylor to be careful, and a talk show host had recently reported Mr. Dixon. Now, the interesting thing is going to be a lot of these reports and alleged HR reports should be documented somewhere. If not, well, it's going to be a bad look. Following the lunch, Miss Faraji called Miss Taylor to convey what the anonymous person had stated. Miss Taylor responded that no one gives a fuck about Anonymous or the talk show host who reported Mr. Dixon. Miss Faraji later observed that Miss Taylor's remark appeared accurate, as no actions were taken to address the concerns raised. If it was not already apparent, it became even more clear that Fox enabled high-ranking individuals to abuse their authority, exerting undue control over female talents and employees. This is nothing new, but it's definitely not right. Fear permeated the workplace as stories of mistreatment circulated. As one example, Mr. Dixon deliberately assigned a female talent member who had been harassed and reported it to a show set up to fail. Wow. When the show inevitably failed due to sabotage. Okay, this is all hearsay. I mean, you don't know. There's no way she could prove that. He used its failure as a justification to terminate her employment. In another instance, a coworker who frequently cried in the hallway due to the relentless sexual harassment was fired just 1 week after reporting it. These repeated incidents reinforced an atmosphere where speaking up, that's ironic. Speaking up seemed futile and dangerous. Now, this is where the class action part comes in, because there's going to be a lot of other people included in this lawsuit against Fox. So it's not just Miss Faraji. We'll get into more about that later. Here we go. Skip Bayless. Oh man. Skip Bayless, what were you getting into? This is where it starts to get crazy. Mr. Bayless begins to give Miss Faraji lingering hugs and kisses on the cheek while putting his body against hers and pressing against her breast. Lord. After the reporting by the talk show host fell on deaf ears, Mr. Bayless began requesting that Miss Faraji give him a haircut once a week in the makeup room. Miss Faraji did as she was told, as Miss Peretti required Miss Faraji to give haircuts to the talent. Initially, during the haircuts, Mr. Bayless would discuss his life, his work at Fox, and other innocuous matters. However, soon after the weekly haircut started, Mr. Bayless began finding excuses to touch Miss Faraji. Oh, Lord, Skip, come on, man. He would give her lingering hugs after each haircut, putting his body against her own, pressing against her stuff. I'm not going to read it again. He then began to kiss her on the cheeks. Miss Faraji was uncomfortable by the physical contact and would make excuses to leave right after the haircuts. I need to pick up my son from school, as an example. In in approximately the summer of 2017, while Miss Faraji was giving Skip Bayless a haircut, he told her that she was voluptuous. Hey, yo. Oh, all right, we're going to get through this. Oh, yo. Can y'all see Skip using that word if you're a fan, if you were a fan of the show? As English is her second language, oh, that's interesting, and she is not familiar with the word, Miss Faraji asked what that meant. Mr. Bayless seemed amused and told her to figure it out. Miss Faraji later asked a co-worker what the word meant and was mortified. Mr. Bayless then started being more aggressive and direct in his advances. Miss Faraji continuously declined, stating that she did not date at work as she is a single mom and needs her job. Miss Faraji was terrified and then turned to her co-worker to discuss the situation. The two decided that because Mr. Bayless was a powerful man and Fox protected powerful men, for example, Mr. Dixon, I'm not going to read through all that. We know what he did. It would only be to her detriment to report the issue. The two decided that Miss Faraji needed to be kind towards Mr. Bayless or risk her job. As a single mother who relied on her job to support her son, Miss Faraji felt that she had no choice. So what happened? Miss Faraji has her hours cut after going on medical leave. All right. In approximately November of 2017, Miss Faraji hurt her back at work, couldn't move for nearly 40 days, and received workers' compensation. All right. In approximately December of 2017, when Miss Faraji returned from her leave, she was not provided her full-time schedule and learned from a coworker that Miss Peretti had promised her shifts to someone else. I mean, this is typical when you take time off of work. So yeah, that's tough. Miss Faraji remains on Undisputed and is asked to also join the herd. Oh, so we got Colin in here, not Colin too. Oh God. In approximately summer of 2018, Miss Taylor was moved from Undisputed to the herd with Colin Cowherd. Miss Taylor again requested Miss Faraji to do her hair. Colin Cowherd is going to be referred to, we're going to refer to him as Colin, also requested Miss Faraji to do his hair. Thus, every day Miss Faraji would do Mr. Bayless's hair for Undisputed and then would do Miss Taylor and Mr. and Colin's hair for the herd. Throughout her entire tenure at Fox, Colin was professional and respectful to Miss Faraji and her co-workers. Shout out to Colin, man. Stand up guy. Can we give him his flowers for not getting involved in this BS? There you go. And Colin is married, by the way. Around this time, after learning of Mrs. Taylor and Mr. Dixon's sexual relationship, Miss Taylor's then fiance broke off the engagement and threatened to go public with all he knew. On information and belief, Mr. Dixon paid for the wedding deposits in a formal exchange for her fiance's silence. Dang. Oh, man. Mr. Diaz, we're going to find out who this is, racially and sexually harasses Miss Faraji. Boy, Fox is a mess. On if this is true, allegedly, right? We got to say allegedly. On May 10th of 2019, Bobby Diaz, he'll be referred to as Mr. Diaz, the individual who puts the microphone on the talent, mocked Faraji for her pronunciation of English words. You can sue for this? What? I don't think he's mentioned in the lawsuit, though. And sexualized the way she was eating fruit. Miss Faraji did not respond. She kept her eyes glued on the monitor playing Undisputed. Miss Peretti was present and did not do anything. Okay, I'm not getting into that. We don't care about that. Miss Taylor again uses her sexuality to get on a show. In approximately February 2020, Miss Taylor asked Miss Faraji to join her for lunch in Beverly Hills. When Miss Faraji arrived, she found Miss Taylor with a man, Emmanuel Acho. Now, if y'all don't know who Emmanuel Acho is, he is currently one of the hosts on Speak, or Speak for Yourself as it's formerly known. He brought Joy Taylor on Speak as well. And it's funny because there's a video of him talking about how excited he is to bring Joy Taylor onto the show, how excited he is to have her, you know, how misogyny is so tough on women and it brings women down in the workforce. Interesting video considering these now allegations. Let's see what happened. When Miss Faraji arrived, she found Miss Taylor was with a man, Emmanuel Acho. Ms. Faraji did not know Mr. Acho, but could tell the two were romantically involved. A few months after meeting Mr. Acho at lunch, Ms. Faraji noticed him in the hallway at work. Ms. Faraji later asked Ms. Taylor if Mr. Acho also worked at Fox. Ms. Taylor confirmed and explained that she wanted Mr. Acho to eventually recommend her on the show Speak for Yourself. Ms. Faraji became alarmed and warned Ms. Taylor that she should probably not sleep with Mr. Dixon and Mr. Acho at the same time. Joy Taylor, come on now, Joy. As Mr. Dixon is a powerful man that may become very angry. Ms. Taylor told her not to worry about it. She explained that she was also now powerful, and once Mr. Dixon was no longer useful to her, she would follow through on her plan to tell the company that he forced himself on her. She would not allow herself to be forced out by Mr. Dixon like other women talent. Wow. Dang, what do y'all think about this part? So did she give the whole playbook to Miss Faraji, and now Faraji's like, you know what? I remember what Joy said. I'm going to try that myself. Jeez. Again, innocent until proven guilty, right? She would not allow herself to be forced out by Mr. Dixon. She, being Joy Taylor, would not allow it like other women talent. In approximately September 2022, Miss Taylor started to work on Speak. Mrs. Taylor requested Faraji to do her hair. Oh my gosh. Miss Faraji targeted because of her ethnicity. In approximately 2022, Jane Doe, Mrs. M, she's going to be referred to, an employee at Fox, began demonstrating erratic behavior. One night at an informal dinner at Mastro's Steakhouse, she grew irrationally enraged with Miss Faraji and screamed, "F you, you Persian B." The dinner ended after Miss M broke a glass and threatened to harm herself. Oh, Lord. Okay, so this lady's crazy. Following the dinner, Miss Faraji's co-worker, Anonymous, who is black, reported an incident to Human Resources, explaining that she would not be okay with someone calling her a black bish. Anonymous also had Miss Faraji report the incident to Miss Peretti. Despite these reports supposedly being anonymous, Miss M learned of these reports and became increasingly unstable towards Miss Faraji every single morning. Miss M would scream and throw things at Miss Faraji. What's going on at Fox? Approximately 6 months later, Miss Faraji told Human Resources that she believed her life was in danger. Human Resources responded that Miss Faraji should leave the workplace when Miss M was having an episode. What does that even mean? After approximately a year and a half, Miss M was fired, and Miss M's ex-boyfriend, a producer at Fox, shared that Human Resources gave Miss M a large amount of money in severance. Miss Faraji wondered why Fox rewarded her bully with money. So an ex-boyfriend. This should be pretty easy to figure out who Miss M is then. Because she was fired, when did she say? 6 months later. So sometime in 2020, she was fired and she dated a producer at Fox. We'll have to look more into this and see who that could be. Human Resources eventually apologized to Miss Faraji, explaining they did not have experience with mental health issues. Human Resources offered Miss Faraji free therapy. Miss Faraji declined the free therapy, but began to see an independent therapist once a week to discuss her life at Fox. Miss Faraji continues to see this same therapist today. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. And I think we're going to spend the majority of our time talking about this one, because it's alleged that Skip Bayless offered Miss Faraji $1.5 million to get down. Let's get into it. This is absolutely insane. Hold on a second. Miss Faraji believes she has cancer and conveys this to Skip Bayless in an attempt to stop his advances, only to have him offer $1.5 million to have sex. Over the years, Mr. Bayless continued to make advances on Miss Faraji. lingering hugs, kisses on the cheek, and inappropriate comments that he could change her life if she acquiesced to having sex. Ms. Faraji would always make excuses regarding her son, politely change the subject, or make a joke. Anything to keep Mr. Bayless appeased and her job safe. In July of 2021, Ms. Faraji developed issues with her left ovary. That's a shame. And was advised it could be cancer. With a fourth biopsy scheduled, she explained her situation to Mr. Bayless, hoping that he would take pity on her and cease his advances. Is that what she was hoping for? I don't. Okay. Instead, Mr. Bayless told her that he wanted to be with her. Ms. Faraji panicked and began rambling that there were cameras everywhere, that she has a child, and that she does not want him. Mr. Bayless then grabbed her hands, began kissing them, and offered her $1.5 million to get it on. Ms. Faraji made an excuse to leave. Approximately 1 week later, Mr. Bayless made another advance to Ms. Faraji. Ms. Faraji responded, "Skip, stop, you have a wife." Mr. Bayless responded, "Aren't you Muslim? Doesn't your dad have 3 or 4 wives?" Ms. Faraji responded that her father was dead. Oh my gosh. And when Mr. Bayless looked taken aback, she made an excuse to leave. $1.5 million. Guys, this story is crazy. And I think a lot of it I could see happening. $1.5 million is a lot of money. Now we can look at Skip Bayless's deal, how much he actually made over and throughout the years. And maybe to Skip Bayless, 1.5 million is a drop in the bucket. Skip Bayless has made a lot of money. He hasn't made that much money. $1.5 million. I'll be interested to see what a lot of people in the industry have to say about that, especially some of them who have independent platforms like maybe a Jason Whitlock. We've reviewed some of his content, or Marcellus Wiley, maybe, who's worked closely with a lot of these folks, because 1.5 million seems excessive. And I don't know, maybe if this turns out to be true, I'll have a different take on that. This part of the lawsuit just seems kind of out there to me. And I can't imagine that he would have paid it in the end anyway. This is wild. Anyway, Ms. Faraji's job is threatened because she does not sleep with Skip. On April 12, 2022, Skip texted Ms. Faraji, "I'm good today." That text meant that he would not be coming in for hair or makeup. Okay. On April 13th, 2022, Skip texted Ms. Faraji, "Not comfortable coming down there. Just do what you need to do. I'm okay." Ms. Faraji asked him what was wrong. He replied, "Same stuff, worse." Interesting. What does that mean? Ms. Faraji, concerned about her own job, walked to Skip's fitting room to see if everything was okay. Skip answered the door, and before Faraji could speak, he began angrily accusing Ms. Faraji of effing Shannon Sharp. Oh man. Mo said that's a lot for some poom poom. So Skip was in his feelings because she gave it up to Shannon for free. Y'all know I don't like to get messy, but hey, this is a legal document, so we're going to read it. Ms. Faraji tried to explain that she did not have any feelings towards Shannon Sharp and had never slept with him or any other talent member or employee at Fox. But before she could speak, Skip demanded she come to his car after the show. Ms. Faraji responded that she could not come sit in his car as it was inappropriate. Skip grew irate and then left. Oh man. On April 14, 2022, Skip texted Ms. Faraji, "If you're distracted tomorrow, I'll wait till Monday, but I can't keep doing this." Ms. Faraji told him that she was very confused. Skip responded, "Trust me, I'm far more confused." Faraji then explained over text that she is not sleeping with Shannon. Skip did not respond. On April 15, 2022, Skip texted Miss Faraji, "Do you still want to do the haircut or just move on?" Miss Faraji responded that she doesn't want to move on from her job and that she will continue doing his hair. On April 16, 2022, Skip called Miss Faraji. Miss Faraji did not answer the call because she was scared. She then called him back 10 minutes later. On the call, Skip again angrily accused Miss Faraji of effing Shannon Sharp and said he could tell from her body language that she was effing him. Skip, come on, man. Skip. Come on, Skip. Miss Faraji tried to explain that she was kind to all talent, and that included laughing and engaging in conversation. Miss Faraji then asked if he was yelling at her because she refused to get into his car. Skip answered that she shouldn't talk to him like that. Miss Faraji replied that she could respond however she wanted. Ooh, attitude. Skip then angrily stated that he heard her talk to Shannon about her pum pum. Thank you for that word, Mo. I'm going to use that more often. Miss Faraji knew this to be untrue and was embarrassed and angry. Miss Faraji responded that even if she had been dating Shannon, which she wasn't, it wouldn't matter at all because she only had a professional relationship with Skip. Dang. So she said, what I do is my business, Skip. If I want to get something from Shannon, just like Michelle did, then I'm going to get it. It's none of your business. On April 17th, 2022, Miss Faraji arrived in the makeup room approximately 12 feet by 30 feet, containing 3 makeup and hair sections, turned on a recording device, put it on the table, and waited for Skip to arrive. Nobody's talking about this. Oh, this is bad. In the meantime, 2 of Miss Faraji's co-workers who were privy to Skip's actions went into the other talent's room adjacent to the room to listen into the conversation. Skip then arrived in the makeup room for Miss Faraji to cut his hair in accordance with his regular schedule. Skip knew that the makeup room was always recorded and clearly states this room is bugged during their conversation. Oh. Mr. Bayless stated that he would hate for her to lose her job, but she can't be doing a big thing with my archival. She responded by reiterating that being polite to, arch rival, excuse me. What is going on? During their conversation, Skip stated that he would hate for her to lose her job, but she can't be doing a big thing with my arch rival. She responded by reiterating that being polite to Shannon is a part of the job. Skip responded, bullshit. Bull jive, as Shannon used to say. Bull jive. I'm calling bull jive on you. Skip then warned that he doesn't want her to lose her job over this. And allegedly, this is all recorded. Miss Faraji responded that she wasn't going to lose her job because she is a great hairdresser. Skip responded, I have love for you, and I have for 6 years, and you hurt me, and you are ruining this. Miss Faraji again responded that she must be polite to all talent. Skip then implied that if he stopped requesting her, it would affect her job. Miss Faraji responded that she is scheduled to work every morning at 5:45 a.m. and if he would like to get his hair done, he is welcome to sit in her chair. Skip continued to threaten her job. Miss Faraji knew that he was trying to pressure her into having sex with him, but she kept repeating that she was professional and that had to be, there's a typo here, and that she had to be kind to all talent. On April 21st, 2022, Mr. Bayless Skip asked if Miss Faraji would come to his home to color his hair, a side job that Miss Faraji previously would partake in when Skip's wife was home. On this occasion, with her therapist's help, she conveyed that she would no longer be going to his home. The following week, Skip arrived in the makeup room as if their conversation never happened, but Miss Faraji remained on edge. Miss Faraji had worsening nightmares regarding the incidents that took place with Skip. Miss Faraji's therapist started using eye movement desensitization and reprocessing to talk her through her interactions with Skip. Oh my gosh. Now, again, these are all allegations, innocent until proven guilty. But if she got some of this on a recording, that's going to be crazy. Y'all have to let me know what you think about that part with Skip. You think Skip's in trouble? The 1.5 million, that number is kind of crazy. I don't know if that's a strategic move by her representation, maybe just throwing that in there so maybe she can get a larger sum. But my gosh, if there's a recording of this and it comes out, this is going to be crazy. Let me know what y'all think. We can keep going through some of this too. She's targeted because of her ethnicity and disability. What else do we have here? Miss Faraji participates in an internal investigation only to be singled out, taken off of speak, and accused of having intercourse with Skip. What? We got to do it. Miss Faraji participates. This is crazy, y'all. Hold on a second. This is insane. So it seems like there was some type of investigation that went on at FS1. And allegedly there were rumors going around about her and Skip. We're going to find out what happened here. This is crazy. Miss Faraji participates in an internal investigation only to be singled out, taken off speak, and accused of having intercourse with Skip. In mid-July of 2023, Anna Drunker, Miss Drunker as she'll be referred to, we'll call her Anna, Fox Sports Vice President of Employee Relations, asked Miss Faraji for a meeting. At the meeting, Anna asked if Miss Taylor was having a relationship with Mr. Acho. Miss Faraji admitted that the two were in a sexual relationship. Miss Faraji shared this information because she didn't think it was a big deal. Miss Taylor and Mr. Acho had similar amounts of power at the time, and because she didn't think Miss Taylor and Mr. Acho would physically harm her for providing this information. Mr. Acho had always been respectful to Miss Faraji and never threatened to hurt her. On July 31st of 2023, Kelsey Doe, will be referred to as Miss Doe, of Employee Relations asked Miss Faraji for a meeting. Now, I don't know if any of y'all have ever dealt with this type of situation with HR and whatever. If you ever see a meeting pop up on your calendar with HR or with Employee Relations and they're like, hey, we want to talk to you, just know, hopefully you're looking for another job because they're about to get you up out of there. This is the way it always goes. They say, oh yeah, we want to have a meeting to discuss some things and see what was going on here. All right, hey, are you free tomorrow morning? They're about to get you up out of there. All right, so we've got Kelsey Doe, Employee Relations, asked Miss Faraji for a meeting. At the meeting, Miss Doe and Miss Faraji, Miss Doe told Miss Faraji that there had been complaints of her humming. Miss Faraji explained that her humming is an involuntary subconscious coping mechanism for a diagnosed PTSD, and that everyone on Fox knew she hummed. Miss Faraji further explained that she has been humming since she was a child, and has been humming her entire tenure at Fox. Her humming was exacerbated in stressful situations. And although she hates it and wants it to stop, she does not even realize when she is humming. Miss Faraji further explained that if anyone was now complaining, they were only going to do so to hurt and embarrass her. Ms. Doe thanked Ms. Faraji for the information, abruptly changed the conversation, and quickly asked whether she made public comments regarding Mr. Dixon and Ms. Taylor's relationship. Ms. Faraji became very scared as Mr. Dixon had previously assaulted her, and Ms. Taylor had warned her that he would fire her if she said anything, and responded that while everyone in the company knew about their relationship, she did not have any information and did not want to comment about it. Wrong answer. Wrong answer. Ms. Doe then tried to end the conversation and asked if Ms. Faraji had any questions. Ms. Faraji then began crying, asking why such a swift investigation took place regarding her humming, but no one cared about Miss. Oh, now this is where she messed up. This is real. This is a real thing, according to her. This is where she messed up right here. She should have let it go. And maybe she was feeling that things were coming to an end. Oh, man. Ms. Doe then tried to end the conversation and asked if Ms. Faraji had any questions. Ms. Faraji then began crying, asking why such a swift investigation took place regarding her humming, but no one cared about Ms. M threatening to kill her or others mocking her in English. Ms. Faraji then explained that all she wants is a safe, normal work environment, but everyone mistreats her because there are no consequences for them. Yeah, she crashed out in this conversation. While she focused on others mocking her in English, she was thinking of her interactions with Mr. Dixon and Skip. On August 3rd, 2023, Ms. Peretti told approximately 8 of Ms. Faraji's co-workers to not associate with Ms. Faraji as she had a pending case with Human Resources. Ms. Faraji was confused from her perspective. She did not have a pending case with Human Resources. Employee Relations had only called her in to answer questions regarding Ms. Taylor. Yeah, well, you know too much, lady. I'm sorry. On August 9th, 2023, Ms. Peretti told Ms. Faraji that her services were officially no longer needed on Speak. Ms. Faraji's diary entry for that day states that they are only taking me off the show because I reported Joy. After I reported that, they took me off the show. This must be illegal. On August 21st, 2023, Kim, we'll call her Kim, Fox Sports Executive Vice President of Human Resources and Business Operations, and Miss Drunker asked Skip Bayless for a meeting. When Skip arrived, Kim and Miss Drunker told Skip not to worry and that his job was safe. The two of them started interrogating him on whether he had a romantic relationship with Miss Faraji and whether she had offered him sex. When Skip responded truthfully that she had never offered him sex, they again told him not to worry and that his job was safe. How do they know this? Did they interview? They must have talked to these people, Kim and the other lady. They again told him not to worry and that his job was safe, heavily implying that they wanted him to say otherwise. The circular conversation took place for approximately 20 minutes. Following the meeting, Mr. Dixon called Skip and asked why he didn't just lie. Skip responded that he cares about Ms. Faraji. Mr. Dixon responded, "Who cares? I can get you a better looking hairstyle." How do they know all of this? Hold on, let me keep reading. The investigation is indicative of the role Human Resources and Employee Relations as a protector of abusers and wrongdoers. Inexplicably, Fox has allowed Human Resources and Employee Relations to be personally intermingled with other departments and high-level decision makers to their own benefit. For example, Ms. Tihani, I don't know how to, I'm probably saying that right. Afiz, Mr. Tihani, Afiz, we'll call him, was promoted to Human Resources was promoted from Human Resources to a producer after he turned a blind eye to various allegations. Shortly after his promotion, Ms. Faraji noticed that he was at Fox early in the morning. Ms. Faraji asked him why he was in so early, and he responded that he was now producing the show because of our great boss, Charlie Dixon, who has the power to do it, has made me a producer. Ms. Faraji asked, "That's all you need? A powerful man? You don't need experience?" We're going to say Mr. Afiz pompously responded, yes, that's correct. And then she learned that Mr. Dixon wanted her fired. Hey, yo. Y'all want to keep going on this? This is crazy. Rice Street said Miss M might be Leslie. I don't know who that is. I don't understand. Saying I'm a single mom is an excuse to stay in a hostile work environment. Adjust your lifestyle. But really? What? It's all about the money. I guess that's the only job she could find, right? I don't know. I can't stand a humming ass person. Rice Street. No, Miss Faraji, don't be a snitch on the others now. If it wasn't a big deal, she wouldn't be asking you. Now she's gonna say she did it already. Now she's changed up. Oh man. Slim Light, look at Slim Light being messy, says, keep going, please. Deranged says, this is the most funniest case I've ever seen. All right, we'll keep going. We'll go a little bit more. Again, there is 42 pages of this. We're on page 18 right now. We got Miss Faraji, lets it be known she will support a coworker. Miss Faraji fired. Miss Faraji's life after working with the defendants. Exhaustion of administrative remedies. All right. Here we go, y'all. So what happened? Now we get into Miss Faraji finding out that they wanted her head. They wanted her fired. Miss Faraji learns that Mr. Dixon wants her fired. In late August 2023, Skip learned that Shannon and Miss Faraji had never been involved romantically. Subsequently, Skip pulled Miss Faraji aside for a conversation. During that conversation, Skip apologized for accusing her of getting it on with Shannon, disclosed details regarding his August 21st, 2023 meeting with Human Resources. Skip was in love. Good Lord, have mercy. And further disclosed that Mr. Dixon wants Miss Faraji fired because she knew too much and was talking. Skip also disclosed that he believed Mr. Dixon kept his wife on Fox's payroll to keep her silent about his affairs with Fox employees. Skip asked Miss Faraji out to dinner to continue the conversation, but Miss Faraji declined, stating that she cannot do anything that gives an inference of a non-work relationship because she wants to keep her job. On October 18, 2023, Skip told Miss Faraji that Mr. Dixon was continuing to push him to ask for a different hairstylist, but Mr. Bayless refused. Miss Faraji's diary entry for that day states, I feel desperate. I don't know how to save my job. Charlie is a big boss and I'm just a hairstylist with no power. Skip said that Joy is telling Charlie to get rid of me. That's crazy. On October 20th, 2023, Skip told Miss Faraji that Mr. Dixon had threatened his job because he continuously requested Miss Faraji, stating that he would rather have another pretty girl on Undisputed over Skip anyway. Oh, Lord. On December 21st, 2023, Skip told Miss Faraji that he still loved her and confided that Mr. Dixon was the one who had told him that Miss Faraji was sleeping with Shannon. Skip then again tried to have sex with Miss Faraji. Miss Faraji's diary entry for that day states, I said, Skip, I'm only interested in working with you and having a friendship relationship with you. Well, okay, so we're switching it up a little bit. She wanted to be friends. This is okay. I don't like these inconsistencies here. I'm only interested in working with you and having a friendship relationship with you and nothing else. He said, you have no idea you are losing everything. I don't know what he means by that. I hope he doesn't take me off the show. It makes me sick to my stomach and it's really hard for me to work like this. I hope God helps me because Fox is supporting people like Charlie and Skip. Skip was in love with this chick. Oh my God. Miss Faraji lets it be known she will support a coworker. On December 17, 2023, one of Miss Faraji's coworkers was indefinitely taken off schedule after she took offense to bullying and racist comments made by a Fox NFL host. Over the next few months, Miss Faraji made it known amongst the department that if she needed, she would speak out on her coworker's behalf. Ms. Peretti responded, "If it's so hard for you here, why don't you quit?" And a lot of y'all are saying that in the comments. Ms. Peretti also later commented, "I don't regret anything I did to the coworker or a different coworker." This was especially cruel as she knew one of the coworkers had tried to commit self-deletion. Ms. Faraji reached out to Ms. Drunker and asked if she should get an attorney. Ms. Drunker responded that if she does not need an attorney. Yeah, listen to your employer. Say, "Hey, there's some stuff going on at our business. Do you think I should get an attorney?" Your employer said, "It's fine. You'll be okay. You're not going to get fired. You don't need an attorney. It's okay." Ms. Faraji is fired. On approximately June 24th, 2024, a talent member disclosed to Ms. Faraji that Undisputed was going to be canceled and that Skip was going to be fired. That's not how they made it look. Oh my God. Ms. Faraji grew internally anxious that Mr. Dixon was trying to get her fired. Later that week, on Monday, Ms. Faraji gave Skip a haircut. During the haircut, Skip told her about a new opportunity he was expecting outside of Fox. Ms. Faraji asked if he would still be coming back to Undisputed, and he replied, "Of course." Skip then told Ms. Faraji that he fantasizes about getting it on with her and how much money it would take for her to have intercourse with him. Ms. Faraji stated that she already refused $1.5 million and that answer wasn't going to change. Skip replied, "The more you say no, the more I want you." What has happened to this channel? Oh my gosh, these lawsuits are insane. On August 2nd, 2024, Undisputed was canceled. Skip Bayless was fired and Ms. Faraji was taken off the schedule. Ms. Peretti told Ms. Faraji that there was no longer a need for her. The same day, Skip asked Ms. Faraji to walk him to his car on his way out. Ms. Faraji felt she had no choice but to walk him out to his car. Once at his car, she noticed Mr. Dixon in the parking lot looking at them. Skip told Ms. Faraji, "F Charlie, I want you to sue them. Go for it. F them. Charlie is not going to sleep tonight. He's scared of what I'm going to tell you. F him." That same day, Ms. Faraji reached out to Fox, asked why she was taken off the schedule, and explained that although Undisputed had been canceled, she worked on The Herd for over 5 years, Speak for 1 year, and talent continued to request her. Fox did not provide a substantive response and said they would investigate the issue. On August 5th, 2024, Ms. Faraji was asked to give Mr. Silverman a haircut in the same manner she had been doing for over the past 7 years. Ms. Faraji then reached out to Fox to ask what she should do, as she did not want to let Mr. Silverman down. The next day, Fox again did not provide a substantive response, but they said they were continuing to investigate the issue. On August 8th of 2024, last year, after finishing their investigation, Fox was finally able to muster the following pretextual reasons for firing Ms. Faraji. They can only afford to have one hairdresser work on all 3 shows, a new morning show, Speak, and Undisputed. Ms. Faraji's fears actualized as she realized that she had become the target. Fox systematically reduced her work schedule and ultimately terminated her employment by removing her from the schedule entirely, using fabricated business necessities as a pretext. Guided by its attorneys, Fox then implemented the revised schedule, assigning a single hairdresser to cover all 3 shows for approximately 3 months. Once Fox believed it had sufficiently justified its actions from a legal standpoint, they reverted to their long-standing scheduling arrangement, which included one hair and makeup professional in the mornings and another set in the afternoon. The same arrangement that had been in place for years during Ms. Faraji's tenure. In addition, Fox employed a barber to work exclusively on the new morning show. Ms. Faraji's life after working with the defendants. Last but not least, for weeks after being terminated, Ms. Faraji remained conflicted as to her next steps. She remained quiet about her experience at Fox as she was fearful, believing that Mr. Dixon might hire someone to kill her should she go public. Jeez. After many therapy sessions, Ms. Faraji has concluded that she never wants to work for Skip again, feeling ashamed for working for him for so many years, and is able to better control intrusive thoughts of Mr. Dixon hurting her again. In response to her feelings of shame, embarrassment, and fear, her therapist told her that she had only been doing what she thought she needed to do to survive. At this point, Ms. Faraji seeks justice. She knows that Mr. Dixon used his position of power to coerce women into getting it on with him and use it as justification to grope Ms. Faraji. She knows that Mr. Dixon did not immediately fire her after Joy Taylor and Ms. Faraji had a falling out, only to appease Skip by providing him with a plaything. So she's saying he fired. Is she saying that they fired her so Skip could have her to himself? Or she's saying that he kept her on so Skip could have a plaything? At this point, she knows Mr. Dixon uses position of power to coerce women to having sex with him and use it as a justification to grope her. She knows that Mr. Dixon did not immediately fire her. Oh, so that Skip could have a plaything, I guess. Okay. Despite Ms. Faraji being an excellent hairdresser and continuously being requested by talent, she was shrunken down to how much she could appease Skip. And once Skip was gone, so was her job. To date, her talents continue to ask for Ms. Faraji at Fox, including Colin, who posted a poll on his Twitter page at The Herd on December 18, 2024, asking if he should get a haircut, with 63.2% responding that he should. Ms. Faraji also continues to be requested by and works for high-profile clients who do not abuse her. Following Ms. Faraji's departure from Fox, Skip began featuring his wife on his podcast. On Information and Believe, he changed the cell phone number he had maintained for many years, presumably in hopes of removing and deleting incriminating messages, presumably after receiving notice of this impending lawsuit from Fox. Yikes. All right, y'all. This is going to be interesting to see what happens. Joy, Acho, they're still working for Fox. Obviously, we know Mr. Dixon's still there. Skip is gone. Shannon is gone. I mean, he really didn't have any issues here. Colin's still there. What's going to happen to Colin? I mean, he's got his own network now. So it's probably a good thing that he did that. But what is going to happen here? Y'all going to let me know what you think in the comments. Oh my gosh. Skip. What happened, Skip? Y'all talking about Pam Oliver? Oh, God. Melly did it, but free him to make his music? What? Yikes. I guess that's what Mopo was talking about. That's a crazy statement. Michi says, Skip is someone's great-grandfather. What the heck are you doing, Skip? Running around with a blue pill begging. You know better. And Faraji, you get some side. Oh, you think she gets some on the... Oh my gosh. This is the messiest I've ever been on this channel. Well, it's close to. Y'all gotta let me know what you think. I'm gonna get up out of here. Y'all tap into the show tonight. Oh my gosh. We're going to be live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, I'll be dropping some more videos for y'all throughout the rest of the afternoon. Make sure if you haven't yet, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time we go live or drop a new video. Like the video on your way out. And as always, y'all, keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. Keep it classy. Oh, we gone. Peace. Wow, wow, wow. Skip was in love for real. Allegedly.